a change, but nobody would call me back. Goodwill did. Goodwill gave me a chance when nobody else would. The manager saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Now that I'm a store manager, I'm able to give people the same chance that somebody gave me. If you would have told me that I would be here helping people wanting to change their lives, I would have called you crazy.
What starts with premium American-made materials is then designed and transformed into the ultimate vehicle protection. And now goes further to secure your phone, along with protection around the home. Discover all the ways WeatherTech can help keep the things you care about protected at WeatherTech.com.
The Subaru Forester. Dog tested, dog approved. Maintain the love of your new Subaru with 2 years of complimentary maintenance during the Subaru A Lot to Love event.
Your coronavirus questions answered at click2houston.com.
Good morning. One nation at home.
Each and every one of us has a critical role to play.
The White House announces new guidelines to crack down on the spread of the coronavirus, including limiting gatherings to no more than 10 people. Overnight, major cities going beyond that. Businesses now shut down in New York, a shelter-in-place order in San Francisco.
These measures will be disruptive to day-to-day life, but there is no need to panic.
And this morning, the new pleas to millennials nationwide on why they could hold the key to stopping the virus. Breaking overnight, postponed. Officials in Ohio suddenly call off today's primary just hours before the polls were set to open. But voting still on in Florida, Arizona, and Illinois.
We do believe it's safe, and we think that the election will go on just fine.
But officials in those states under fire for moving forward in spite of the outbreak. Released. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson out of the hospital, now in self-quarantine in Australia, while another major star reveals he's been infected.
I got some test results back for coronavirus and it came back positive.
All that plus spreading the love from impromptu concerts to a unique way of celebrating a special anniversary.
There's just a sweetness to the two of them and what they share.
We'll share how people are coming together to get through these strange times. Today, Tuesday, March 17th, 2020.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today, the Coronavirus Pandemic, with Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Today. We're so happy that you are joining us on this Tuesday morning. We are with you. We're with each other. We may be a little further apart.
I know. This is the new normal. We're getting used to keeping ourselves. This is your dance space. This is my dance space. And this is just one of the ways that we are adjusting as all of you and everyone in this country and frankly around the world adjust to trying to do our best to get on top of the coronavirus. Let's start with the very latest. And the government's task force's new sweeping guidelines for the next 15 days to try to prevent and slow down the spread of the virus. But they acknowledge this pandemic may well stretch into July or August.
Meantime, the president warned that a recession was possible after another historic rout on Wall Street Monday. The Dow and the S&P 500's worst day in 33 years, and the Nasdaq's biggest one-day plunge ever.
And new this morning, officials in Ohio have pulled the plug on today's primary over fears of exposing voters and poll workers to the virus. As we start our coverage this morning, an update on the number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. It stands at more than 4,400 with 88 deaths.
Our team is spread out covering all this. We'll get things started with NBC's Tom Costello. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning. So listen, that dramatic spike we saw in the number of cases is because the U.S. is now ramping up testing. By an NBC News count, 33 tests so far nationwide. That is a drop in the bucket compared to South Korea, which is doing 15,000 each day. Meanwhile, cities and states closing restaurants and bars and gyms and theaters, retailers closing down. The president says there is no plan right now for any sort of a national quarantine, but dramatic news when he said that he expects this could, in fact, extend well into late summer. President Trump now offering a sobering new assessment of the coronavirus crisis as cases rise from coast to coast.
This is a bad one. This is a very bad one. This is bad in the sense that it's so contagious.
The administration providing a sharp change in tone from just a day earlier.
It's incredible, but it's something that we have tremendous control over.
Now, new White House guidelines urge all Americans to avoid social gatherings of 10 people or more.
Everybody in America does what we ask for over the next 15 days. We will see a dramatic difference, and we won't have to worry about the ventilators, and we won't have to worry about the ICU beds.
Cities and states now taking drastic measures to try to curb the spread of the virus. Overnight, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine defied a judge's order, canceling the state's primary election by getting the state's health director to declare an emergency, ordering the polls closed amid fears over coronavirus.
Is it a perfect decision? No, absolutely not. It does preserve people's constitutional rights, and it does not require them to choose between their health and exercising their constitutional right.
It comes as 3 other states are set to vote today in the first primary since the start of the outbreak. Arizona, Florida, and Illinois moving forward with their primaries, despite calls for social distancing. Nationwide, health officials are struggling to stop the spread of the virus. Out west, the San Francisco Bay Area under lockdown, with residents told to stay home except for essential needs. And in the nation's capital, the Supreme Court shut down for the first time in more than a century when it closed for the 1918 flu pandemic. Just to the north, Canada plans to shut down international travel with an exception for U.S. citizens.
Anyone who has symptoms will not be able to come to Canada.
It all comes as the airline industry, which has already made deep cuts to service, seeks a $50 billion government bailout. Amtrak says it's making major cuts to its rail service due to reduced demand, including along the busy Northeast corridor. Meanwhile, Amazon says with the spike in online orders, it will hire 100,000 workers to help with demand and increase wages for workers by $2 an hour. In Seattle, doctors gave the first doses in a clinical trial of a potential vaccine, but experts caution it could still be up to 18 months before a vaccine becomes widely available. For now, the White House says everyone, especially young and healthy people, should do their parts to protect the older friends and loved ones who are considered more at risk.
I want to speak particularly to our largest generation now, our millennials. They are the core group that will stop this virus.
I misspoke on the beginning there. 33,000 tests have now been essentially carried out nationwide compared to 15,000 per day in South Korea. Listen, the economic toll here is mounting. Congress considering a massive injection, an economic lifeline to families and businesses. Credit card companies are actually helping people figure out a payment plan, deferring sometimes interest in some cases. We've also got utility companies promising not to turn off the power or the water or cable TV or even telephone service, as this country now is only a week or so into what is proving to be just a massive disruption. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, that economic health can't come soon enough. All right, Tom, thank you.
Now to a closer look at those unprecedented steps that major cities have taken to control the spread of the virus. How are millions of people coping with those drastic changes to daily life in the order to stay home? NBC's Gabe Gutierrez joins us from Times Square in the heart of New York City this morning. Gabe, good morning to you.
Savannah, good morning. This is the new normal in the heart of Manhattan. Many bars and restaurants closed, and on St. Patrick's Day, those new restrictions went into effect overnight across the region as the entire country faces a new reality. Overnight, the unprecedented changes took effect in 2 of the nation's largest and most densely populated metro areas. Much of New York and San Francisco now shut down.
There's nothing, honestly, nothing at this point that I can do.
Across Manhattan, a stunning sight. Normally packed bars and restaurants no longer allowing customers to dine in.
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know financially how I'm going to pay my bills.
Only takeout and delivery orders across the tri-state area.
It's like a nightmare that doesn't end, you know.
Some businesses are choosing to close altogether. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
The only thing close was Sandy. It was very hard to come back from. Most people live paycheck to paycheck, right? We're mom and pops. We're small business. We count on every day, every week.
Across the region, schools are shut down.
Real decision makers have to factor in everything, because the ramifications on people's lives are that great.
New York City is starting online classes next week and planning to distribute 300,000 devices to students in need. Casinos, movie theaters, and gyms are also shuttered.
I need this place. This place is my family. I love it here.
The sharp increase in coronavirus cases leading to an even more drastic order in the San Francisco Bay Area. 7 million people are being told to shelter in place for 3 weeks.
These measures will be disruptive to day-to-day life, but there is no need to panic.
Still, much like New York, essential businesses like grocery stores, pharmacies, and gas stations will stay open.
Dinner's ready.
Lindsay Bonds supports the restrictions. She's 8 months pregnant, working from home with her husband and toddler.
I'm due in 9 weeks, so just a little bit worried about hospital capacity at that point.
Businesses and the communities they serve coming face to face with a new reality from coast to coast.
For those businesses that do stay open, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says that at least half of their employees should work from home. Savannah?
All right, gave you chairs in Times Square for us. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy put tough new restrictions in place in his state yesterday and suggested a curfew for non-essential travel. The governor joins us this morning. Governor, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning, Savannah.
We see what's happened in New York City. We see what's happened in San Francisco, where the mayor has ordered people to stay at home, to shelter in place. Is that kind of dramatic action, a lockdown of sorts, something that you could see happening in your state?
We frankly have a version of that already. It isn't a curfew. It is a strong recommendation that between each night, the hour of 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. the next day, cut out all non-essential travel in the state of New Jersey. Only essential businesses being allowed to be open. So casinos are shut, movie theaters, gyms, restaurants, bars are takeout only. Our schools effective today are all shut. We've called up the National Guard. We've lowered the amount of people that we're allowing to gather. We're trying to do everything we can to break the back and flatten that curve so we can take pressure off the healthcare system and, God willing, save lives.
Governor, you were on that call yesterday with a number of governors from around the country and President Trump. What did he tell you governors about the availability of respirators and ventilators and whether the federal government could be relied upon in case states are not able to meet their individual needs?
So we've had an ask in of the federal government. We've had a good back and forth and good relationship with them. Our number one objectives are personal protective equipment for our healthcare first responders, boots on the ground. The good news from that call yesterday, FEMA will help us stand up some drive-through testing, which we desperately need. And ultimately, we're going to need a lot of money to put our economy back on its feet. The White House has generally been accepting of the ask to have gotten a fraction of our personal protective equipment. They said, listen, we'll do our best, but you all are going to have to go out and help source some of this yourself. The problem is this stuff's not lying around. Everybody wants it. FEMA comes in, by the way, with their own equipment, which is an important step, an important point to make. But we will continue to make those asks of the federal government.
Governor Cuomo of New York has said that he believes that the Army Corps of Engineers should come in and start constructing makeshift hospitals now in anticipation that there will be overcapacity soon. Is that something that you echo? Do you think there needs to be hospitals constructed from the ground up?
Potentially. We did a lot of our actions, by the way, yesterday, as we have over time in concert with New York and Connecticut, and I might add now Pennsylvania. It's part of the reason, Savannah, we've called up the National Guard, because the National Guard can play a multitude of roles, including in engineering and helping us construct. I think we're probably first going to look at wings of hospitals that have been closed to reopen, and then full hospitals. We don't have many of them, but we've got some of them that are closed that can be reopened, and maybe dormitory settings that can be converted to a quarantine setup. Is the Army Corps a potential down the road? Absolutely. We're gonna take this in phases.
Governor, before I let you go, I just have a few seconds. This issue of testing has just really dogged the response. Do you feel at this moment that the red tape has been lifted, that you're able to test at the capacity you need to?
I think what we've said to our people is, by the way, this is no time to panic. It's also no time for business as usual. And that's a mantra that we've been trying to preach. Each day, the testing reality is better. We will have a meaningfully stronger regime by the end of this week. I'm not sure all the red tape has been lifted because you have to do this right, both the intake on the front end and the testing on the back end. But we're getting to a much broader, higher scale reality sooner than later in New Jersey.
All right, New Jersey's Governor Phil Murphy, thank you for your time this morning, sir, on a busy, busy day. We turn now to NBC News medical correspondent Dr. John Torres, NBC senior business correspondent Stephanie Rule. Good morning to both of you. I'll turn the testing question. I think we have to ask it every single day, because if you're not testing and you're not analyzing results, you're not containing the spread of this virus.
And I've said before, testing is the linchpin to getting this whole thing under control. And Dr. Tedros, the director of the World Health Organization, even said, test, and then test some more. That's so essential that we do it. I've talked to some friends of mine across the country that are ER doctors as well, and they're telling me just yesterday that it's gotten a lot better than it was a week ago, but there's still a little bit of room for improvement. They can get those tests. There still seems to be a delay of a few days to get the results. Getting them right on time would be much, much better.
As the governor was saying, you see places like New Jersey, New York, San Francisco taking these drastic measures, and in some cases locking down the cities. You're a medical professional. If you were giving advice to cities around the country, would you say, let's lock it down?
You know, I would say it depends, because you have to look at the whole spectrum of what's going on. And to lock down the whole country is a very, very drastic move. So I would say if you have outbreaks in your area, or it looks like the numbers are starting to climb up, then go ahead and start taking these drastic measures. And like the governor said, phases. Start doing things in phases. And I think that's what we heard yesterday.
People aren't listening, though, to a lot of these warnings. That's the trouble.
And that is the trouble. And hopefully, and that's what Dr. Fauci said yesterday, hey, we're going to do this in phase. We're going to see what happens. If America responds, then we don't have to go much further. If they don't, everything's on the table.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's on us to do what we're told to do, or else it'll become mandatory. Stephanie, let me turn to you. Another just a bloodbath on Wall Street in terms of the markets, but also there's talk about different things that could be done to help people who, starting today or last week, aren't getting a paycheck anymore. Still have bills and still have rent to pay.
Here's one positive. The president that we saw yesterday in that press conference was the most somber we have seen. And what we have said across the board is that we need federal, state, government leaders as well as business leaders to all get on the same page. You know, you just said people aren't listening. They start to listen when you see the president. And it wasn't just that, then the media changes. And so from a what is this going to do for our economy, it's very bad news, because as soon as we shut down and you don't have groups of more than 10 people and bars and restaurants are closed, that's very bad in the short term. But in the long term, to truly solve this, we have to have this lockdown. And now you are seeing the government get closer, right? So the bill, the monetary policy bill, the monetary policy was addressed by the Fed on Sunday. But now the Congress has passed their bill. They're now moving it to the Senate to help people, to expand unemployment, to expand paid family leave.
But it's not through Congress yet, by the way. And by the way, people need dough now. And Romney was talking about, let's send $1,000 to each family out there, because you need something and you don't need to wait.
This is really important, because you could say, I'm going to apply for unemployment benefits, I'm going to get a loan. That takes time. If you don't get to go to work today and you're not a salaried employee, you might not make the best health decisions for your family. You might say, I'm going to go take this shift because I need to make sure I get paid. But if suddenly you're getting that $1,000 and you've got a cushion, you know you can put food on the table, you can say, you know what? It is time for me to quarantine. And the sooner we're making the responsible health decisions, the sooner the economy will come out the other side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Steph.
3/5 of the U.S. workforce are hourly employees.
Wow.
Yeah, the president.
Imagine if they had a little extra cushion. They could make the best choices.
All right, you're not going anywhere, actually, because the next hour at 8 o'clock, we're going to devote the entire hour to answering your questions about the coronavirus and its impact, whether they're health questions, they're consumer questions, or economic questions. Send them to us. Send them on Facebook or on Instagram, and we're going to address them coming up next hour.
All right, there are a lot of people all around the world, and they are stepping up and they are helping out, and they are doing something for people in need. We want to share some of their stories, including a couple of kids in Columbus, Ohio. Their school's closed because of the coronavirus outbreak, so they are making the most of their time. Check it out. Oh, just a brother and sister and a cello concert for the neighborhood. I mean, their neighbor is self-isolating, so they said, you know what? And you can see the neighbor right there. They brought their instruments over, set up in front of her porch, and they performed for their tiny audience. But like, that's like a perfect moment right there.
Well, I mean, music is a healer. Yeah. And I think we're seeing so many examples of just good people doing good things and loving their neighbor.
Yes.
And that is the order of the day.
Yes.
Craig and Al are out once again. We're just being super cautious. There was a 9 o'clock hour employee, someone on the third hour today, who tested positive for the virus. Craig and Al had some contact, so we're just in an abundance of caution keeping them home, but they feel good. In fact, Al feels so good.
Yeah.
He wants to do the weather. Come on, Al. Good morning, Al. You could sleep in for once.
Well, I didn't have to commute in, so I did sleep in the kitchen. Want to make sure there are no NBC News crews here. This is my iPad, and we've got a crew. Somebody, Catherine Proceeds in our weather center. Don Sinikis is in his home, and so we've kind of jerry-rigged this system, and I've got all my graphics and everything I need. So we're starting off with some severe weather, starting this afternoon for a good portion of Texas. We're going to be watching that storm. Damaging winds, tornado threat low. That's the good news. But as we move into the overnight hours, we have an enhanced risk. Tornadoes possible for central Texas, damaging winds and hail. And then as we move into Thursday, look at this. We're looking at severe weather again from Texas all the way into Missouri and Arkansas for up to 6 million people. This system will be pushing to the east with Pacific and Gulf Coast moisture flowing in. Flood watches up to the Dallas metro area through this evening. Tomorrow, that frontal boundary will lift to the north. Heavy rain from Pittsburgh on into Oklahoma City. And then as we move on into Thursday, morning rain and snow in the northern parts of the Northeast. Snow likely from Denver all the way to Duluth. Snowfall amounts, we're talking anywhere from 1 to 3, maybe even up to 6 inches of snow back to the west. But locally, 5 inches of rain from Texas all the way into central Ohio and moving on into the Northeast. It is going to be a real mess. We're going to get to your local forecast coming up in the next 30 seconds.
We got a Subaru to give him some adventure. To reconnect and be together. And once we did that, we realized his greatest adventure is just beginning.
Welcome to the most adventurous Outback ever. The all-new Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Good morning. Here's a live look at Galveston. This is Moody Gardens. The pyramids are out there somewhere. The visibility is very low. Very dense fog at the coast. Our visibility is down to 1/4 mile, 1/2 mile in Lake Jackson, 1 mile as you get closer to Houston. Just make sure that you're taking that extra caution this morning. We have a dense fog advisory for Southeast Harris County, our coastal counties, until 10 o'clock this morning. This afternoon, more of the same. Warm and muggy, a few spotty showers. That cool down arrives just in time for the weekend.
Gotta make breakfast for my boy. This way I don't have to put it in the warming drawer, guys. Back to you.
Hi, Al. All right, thank you very much.
If anyone wanted to ask you a question,
well, Al,
we have to ask.
Well, I just, knowing you, are you wearing pants right now?
Look at the time.
The crew loves it. Okay, we needed a laugh. All right.
Pants, for God's sake. They're stretchy pants.
Okay, but elastic waistband. I mean,
we figured they were
do the same.
Yes.
We'll see it.
All right, Al. Thanks, honey.
Thank you. Still ahead this morning, we're going to hear from families dealing with the coronavirus. What is it like to have a spouse quarantined in just the next room? And how does it feel to be the person who brought the virus into the home? What these patients have to say, their experiences, may surprise you.
And then the run on grocery stores, how people are adjusting to meet the increased demand, how the grocery stores are reacting, plus the touching move by some stores to protect the most vulnerable shoppers. We're talking about older Americans, but first, this is Today on NBC.
Since 2014, KPRC2 has joined forces with Houston Habitat for Humanity to help deserving families realize their dream of owning a home.
We're making Houston stronger because we're making Houston families stronger.
Now, KPRC UT physicians and friends are proud to lend a hand to a family who lost so much during Harvey.
This means a lot to my kids. They're finally going to be in a home that's safe and around the school.
The 7th annual KPRC Habitat Home, presented by our proud partners at UT Physicians.
There are dealerships, and then there's Mercedes-Benz of Sugar Land. In addition to our incredible selection, you'll also experience magnificent service and meticulous attention to detail. Our offers are pretty exceptional too. Right now, lease the all-new 2020 GLB SUV for just $399 a month for 36 months, or 2020 GLE SUV for just $649 a month for 36 months. Mercedes-Benz of Sugar Land, first-class service.
When managing diabetes, you can't always stop for a finger stick. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you don't have to. With a painless 1-second scan, you can check your glucose with a smartphone or reader, so you can stay in the moment, no matter where you are or what you're doing. Ask your doctor for a prescription for the Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Hi, I'm Jim McEnroe, Mattress Mac.
And I'm Dr. Umair Shah from Harris County Public Health.
Just like you, I'm thinking about how coronavirus can affect me and my family. I'm older, which means I'm considered high risk.
If you're over 60 or have an underlying health condition, you are more susceptible to COVID-19.
Take steps now to protect you and your family.
Avoid large crowds and sick people. Have backups for your medication and alternate plans for your caregivers.
Spread facts, not fear.
Visit readyharris.org for more information.
Just ahead with you today, a full hour dedicated to your questions after.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I only pay for what I need. What a great day. One milk day. What a messed up.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
At Pure Leaf, saying no is the most important ingredient in our new cold brew iced tea. We say no to rushing and brew it longer at a colder temperature for our smoothest taste yet. Try it today or tomorrow. No rush. Pure Leaf. No is beautiful.
You got to accent to aid the positive and even. To the affirmative, but don't mess with Mr. In Between.
This is a KPRC Channel 2 News update.
726, good morning. I'm Andy Sirota. Right now, seniors are getting the opportunity to shop without the crowds from 7 to 8 a.m. each day. Food Town is only allowing customers 65 and older to shop. Dollar General is also encouraging stores to dedicate its first hour of business each day to only elderly shoppers. In Harris County, in the city of Houston, leaders ordering bars and nightclubs to close for the next 15 days in an effort to slow the spread of coronavirus. Also, all restaurants are being asked to suspend dine-in services and only offer takeout. Sophia, how are the roads looking?
Hey, Andy. Hey, good morning, everyone. We're talking fog this morning. The yellow part of this map is fog, so we're going to keep that in mind. I do want to show you Highway 288 out of Alameda, Genoa. This is what it is like in some parts of our viewing area. We've got some patchy fog as you head out the doorway this morning. So remember, use those low beams. Don't use those high beams. Here are your drive times, and slow down. Don't forget to slow down. We've got all green all across the map, 14 minutes in from Pearland. Have a good day, everyone.
Larger shrubs add a dramatic touch to your yard, and we have the largest selection of shrubs in Texas. We have boxwood, hawthorn, wax ligustrum, pittosporum, claire, japonica, and bottlebrush at Houston Garden Centers with better plants for less.
The coronavirus.
Fear of this illness is spreading just about as fast as the virus itself.
This is social distancing. We have no studio audience.
It's very unnerving sitting on a high chair 6 feet away from people.
There's no cure for it. There's not an antibiotic for it.
I wear my mask at all times.
It shouldn't have taken a global pandemic to tell people that they need to wash their hands.
This is a deadlier virus. Tell us what the truth is.
New Dr. Phil. Today at 3 on Channel 2. Honda City Tour presents Niall Horan. Nice to meet you. You waited, and
Turkey Horse Mitchell Pavilion, presented by Huntsman, July 12th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. An incredible night with Niall Horan live in concert. Check more at niallhoran.com.
The chance to open look for free.
Running out. Get to Nissan now for big savings on our entire lineup, like the award-winning Rogue and Ultima. It's car buying season. Hurry to Nissan, official partner of the NCAA. Save $2,500 or get 0% financing for 60 months on the 2020 Nissan Rogue. Get to Nissan now.
Choose the variety you want from the largest selection of roses on the Gulf Coast. We offer you Floribundas, grandifloras, climbing roses, drift roses, hybrids, and a huge variety of knockout roses at Houston Garden Centers with better plans for less.
Good morning. Your time is 7:30. I'm meteorologist Britta Merwin, and visibility along the Southwest Freeway is improving. Good news there. But we still have a few thick spots, especially at the coast, down to 1/4 of a mile. One thing I do want to point out, we're seeing the visibility drop on the northeast side, Bush Airport, down to a mile. That is not included in the dense fog advisory, so take a little extra caution if you're going to be around the airport. Meanwhile, southeast Harris County down to the coast, dense fog advisory in effect through 10 a.m. It is St. Patrick's Day. Hope you can find some time to take your kids in the backyard, keep that social distance, but enjoy the day. We're expecting 80 degrees, so only a slight chance of a passing shower and very muggy weather. Cool down's on the way. That arrives just in time for the weekend. And good morning, everybody. Welcome back to today. It's 7:30. It's Tuesday morning, 17th of March, 2020. Now, normally we'd be showing you some early revelry, St. Patrick's Day. People at the pubs. It's a different time this year.
Now, for the first time in 200 plus years, they canceled the parade here in New York City. They're canceling all things around the country. It's so funny because until you just said it, I was like, today's St. Patrick's Day? Like, yeah, I think it's a totally different world.
Yes, it is. But you can wear a little green
I
at
think
home.
some crew guys were.
Right? I forgot to wear green. My Irish grandmother would not be happy about that. It's 7:30 now. We're so glad you're along with us. Here's the latest on the coronavirus. The president yesterday issued strict new guidelines that call for Americans to avoid gatherings of more than 10 people now and to limit discretionary travel and dining out.
The College Board canceling the May 2nd SAT makeup exams for the March 14th test. Those were canceled. Students who already signed up for those 2 dates will receive refunds.
And more postponements from the world of sports to tell you about the running of the Kentucky Derby has been rescheduled for September 5th. The race is normally run in May, and Major League Baseball announcing opening day will be pushed back until at least mid-May.
All right. So far, thousands of Americans have tested positive. So what has it been like for those patients and for their families? In a moment, we're going to talk to a nurse who contracted the virus and is now in self-quarantine. But first, NBC's Joe Fryer has more on this story. Hey, Joe.
Hey there, good morning. Health experts say there's still so much we don't know about this virus. Some patients get very sick while others experience few, if any, symptoms at all. We spoke remotely to those who've tested positive, as well as loved ones of those who are sick, to see how they're coping.
So we read, we watched TV.
Inside this tiny apartment, Narani Misawan is in a 3-week isolation with her toddler Luke,
Quarantined boy.
as she cares for her 30-year-old husband Josh, who tested positive for COVID-19 a week ago.
He was sweating. His throat was hurting. To know that he had corona, it was horrifying to me, but his symptoms didn't look horrifying. Josh was quarantined in the bedroom while Luke and I were out in the living room, and we tried not to touch him. I spoke to him from outside the room, just not being able to go outside, not really interacting with other people. That's the part that's been extremely hard for all of us. Luke and I have not been tested. It's not how I would like it, because how will you really know if you have it or not?
I started feeling some flu-like symptoms last Wednesday.
You may recognize Daniel Goldman from the impeachment hearings. He was the Democratic counsel for the House Intelligence Committee. Now, the New Yorker is in home isolation diagnosed with the coronavirus. But to get tested, he had to drive to a hospital out of state.
But because there are so few test kits out there, I was really unable to find a test within New York State because I didn't fit the criteria. My wife now almost certainly has it. She has the same symptoms.
Now awaiting test results for his wife and 3 kids, his family has hunkered down for a 2-week quarantine at home.
It's important for everybody out there to understand this is not a plague. It's not an affliction. For the vast majority of people who get it and are not vulnerable, either elderly or immunocompromised, it feels like the flu. I had a fever, I had a headache. It was not fun for 3 days, but I got past it. I've been sicker before.
Both families say they're following doctors' orders and isolating at home for the next several weeks, but they wish testing for COVID-19 was more widespread and easier to get for patients and their family members. Back to you guys.
All right, Joe, thank you.
Dr. Torres is back with us, and we're joined on FaceTime now by Lisa Merck, a Colorado nurse who is recovering from a serious case of the coronavirus, COVID-19. Lisa, good morning. And first things first, you look good. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm actually feeling really great this morning. I started making a turn for the better on March 14th. I've gotten more energy back, and the only thing that I'm having right now is just a little fatigue and some shortness of breath still.
This all started back in February. You went on a trip to Hawaii. You felt like a lot of people feel a little yucky. You said you were feeling pains in your neck and things and thought maybe it was how you were carrying your backpack. When did you realize that this was something serious?
I realized it was something serious. My husband and I both started having fevers on March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then I didn't start feeling really bad until probably the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And on the 8th is when I asked him to take me to the emergency room just because I felt like I wanted to collapse every time I took a deep breath. It was short of breath for me. And then my lower lobes and my down by my ribs started hurting really bad.
And you're a nurse.
Yeah.
So was it easy to get the coronavirus test as of a couple weeks ago?
So I'm an advanced practice nurse. I have a little clinic in town. I went in. I didn't expect that I had the coronavirus at all. I thought maybe it was a case of the flu, but I did check for the flu before that. I went to our clinic and got a flu test for my husband and I, and both that was negative. And so I kind of suspected maybe I might have it, but I wasn't 100% sure. You know, it was really scary for me at the time. So we went in and got the full workup.
Lisa, as mentioned, you are a healthcare professional yourself, but we have one here too, Dr. Torres, also from Colorado, I believe. And I know you, Lisa, had some questions you wanted to ask Dr. John. Go fire away.
I do. I'm getting, on March 22nd, they said that I could go back out in the public, and I'm really scared. I'm scared to go back in the public. I'm scared about getting, reinfecting anybody, getting reinfected myself, and how long will I be a carrier?
And that's very understandable, especially with your patients. If you have a vulnerable population, you want to make sure you're not causing any issues with them. There's 2 different criteria, and that's why it can be a little confusing. One of them is that you test negative 2 times 24 hours apart. If you do that, then they say you can go ahead and get released from quarantine or isolation. The other one is symptom-based, and that's why it gets a little confusing. The symptom-based is if your symptoms have gone away, but you had symptoms for at least 7 days ago was when it started. So you've gone at least 7 days with symptoms, they've gone away, and you either have symptom-free, you either have your fever has gone away for 3 days without any kind of issues, or your symptoms have completely resolved.
Wait. So I'm sorry, I didn't follow that. I don't get it. So if you don't have symptoms for 7 days and you don't have a fever for 3?
Right, as long as you first started getting symptoms 7 days ago.
Oh, okay.
And if your symptoms have gone away and you're fever-free for 3 days, then you can go ahead and go. But that fever-free means not taking any medicine
and the
or the
idea
2
of
tests.
getting 2 tests in 24 hours seems highly unlikely since people are having trouble getting 1 test.
Right, and that's one of the issues, and that's why they did the symptom part of it instead of just the testing part of it. But it can be confused. I just confused everybody. It can be confusing.
Yeah. Just stay home, Lisa.
Do you have one more question, Lisa?
I am really scared about that because I did get that information, 14 days quarantine, and then 2 negative COVID tests 24 hours apart. And then a day later, they called and said 10 days isolation, and then I don't need any testing. So I don't know what to do. I don't want to infect anybody, and I don't know how long I'm going to be a carrier for. So I've closed my clinic down until April 1st, the middle of April right now, because I just am really scared.
And you're taking the right measures to make sure, again, your patients are safe, and that's probably the most important thing you can do at this point. But if you've tested negative twice over that 24-hour period, if you did that, then you're not going to be a carrier of this disease, and you're not going to pass it on to anybody else. But it's always prudent to make sure you give that extra bit of time, that padding, just to make sure you don't, because you probably have a vulnerable population.
Lisa, thank you so much for talking with us this morning. We really appreciate it. We wish you the best, okay, hon?
Thank you so much.
It won't be long, Lisa. You'll be out and about and back in your routine. Thank you. We're glad you're feeling better.
Dr. John, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. John. You're not going anywhere, my friend. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. But first, and boy, a lot of people are talking about this race to restock empty grocery store shelves. Americans have been stocking up. So we'll tell you what some chains are now doing to ease the burden on older shoppers. Carrie Sanders has the details on this right after that.
If you looked at America like a bird, and that was all you knew, would you really understand it with just that point of view? We've got a different way to look at it from right here on the ground. We don't just see United States, we see United Towns. We're grateful for what you bring, and all the sparks you've shown, and the thousands of towns that we get to call home.
Wherever we want to go, auto save your way there with Chase. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Where does your almond milk come from?
Almond Beach starts here with our almond trees in our Blue Diamond Orchard in California. My parents' job is to look after them. It is my job to test the product.
The best almonds make the best almond milk. Blue Diamond Almond Breeze.
Ladies, my friends and I are having a debate.
I have a back rash.
All right. Whoa, Mara.
I laugh like this. It's just not my scene.
I couldn't help
Do
it.
you like insurance? I love insurance. Did you know you could save money bundling home and auto with Progressive, and renters can bundle too? I know, right?
I just stopped. I was listening.
Sun care is self-care. I used to not love wearing an SPF just because I felt like it was so oily and greasy, but with Olay Regenerist with SPF 25, it's so lightweight. I love it. I'm Busy Phillips, and I'm fearless to face anything.
Get this. Your detergent may contain disodium distyryl biphenyl disulfonate. Yeah, I don't know either. Switch to 7th generation. Clean clothes, no unnecessary chemicals.
FX on Hulu, the pure premium brand. Free with every Hulu subscription. Over 40 original series. Over 1,400 episodes. The award-winning collection. And exclusive FX originals. Only on Hulu. FX on Hulu.
Well, it's time for wrinkles. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair. We've got the retinol that gives you results in 1 week. Not just any retinol, accelerated retinol SA. 1 week. That's all it takes. Neutrogena.
Technology. It does great things for people, like putting CPAs at our fingertips who will review our taxes with us.
I checked your return, and you're good to go.
Great, thanks. People can be good at anything, even taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
Give me the rings. I just need the rings. Don't look quick. You selfish little...
His cat.
Life's more fun with a dog. And dog life is more fun with Milk-Bone.
Seresto, Seresto, Seresto.
Jake.
Seresto, Seresto, Seresto.
Whatever your dog brings home to you, it shouldn't be fleas and ticks. Seresto gives your dog 8 continuous months of flea and tick protection in an easy-to-use, non-greasy collar.
Seresto, Seresto, Seresto.
Jake.
Seresto.
8 months.
Seresto, Seresto, Seresto.
Before Nexium 24-hour, Anna could only imagine a comfortable night's sleep without frequent heartburn waking her up. Now, that dream is her reality. Nexium 24-hour stops acid before it starts for all-day, all-night protection. Can you imagine 24 hours without heartburn?
You met on an app. Delete it.
Why?
He's the one.
Gesundheit. I see something else. A star with 3 points. You're in a Mercedes.
Yeah, we wish.
Wish granted. With 4 models starting under $37,000, there could be a Mercedes-Benz in your very near future at the spring event. Lease the A220 sedan for just $349 a month with credit toward your first month's payment at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer.
We are back now, 7:43 with In Depth today. As the reality of staying at home sets in, people are scrambling to stock up on supplies.
Absolutely. We've all seen those images of bare shelves at stores, and a lot of people are asking, what are retailers and manufacturers doing to meet the demand? Do they have enough? NBC's Carrie Sanders has the latest on that. Carrie, good morning.
Well, good morning, guys. This is how much of America looks. I'm inside the Landis family home. This is a family of 5. They have a well-stocked refrigerator. It's taken them over 3 days, 6 runs to grocery stores. Come on in here and take a look at the pantry to get what they need. This is what the government says. You need enough food to last you for 2 weeks. So this is not hoarding, and it explains why there is still a continued run at the grocery stores. This morning, major grocery stores working overtime, ramping up staffing to get food and supplies from the warehouse to supermarket shelves.
We're still going to be able to feed people because we have these 1,300 trucks a day, plus more coming.
I would just ask that we err on the side of preparedness versus panic.
A shortage of toilet paper, hand sanitizers, and soap expanding. In some stores, now freezer sections and fresh meats also cleaned out.
We definitely had to go to more than one store to be able to get everything that we needed today.
The challenge? Hoarding, with many shoppers afraid supplies will run out.
Hoarding is hurting our community. So please don't do that.
This is not a time to panic. We are not closing grocery stores.
The grocery stores are not shutting down.
No need to rush into the stores as if all of the food will be gone.
Absolutely no eggs. The fear prompted by images of empty store shelves across America. What's the hardest thing to find right now? Makers of toilet paper like Georgia Pacific say they're rolling it out as quickly as possible. Inside some stores, new precautions like plastic shields around cashiers at Texas chain H-E-B. A major concern, vulnerable seniors. Northeast chain Stop and Shop opening at 6 a.m. exclusively for customers over age 60. This Los Angeles grocery store also offering special hours for seniors.
We have a package for you.
And in Chicago, a nonprofit putting together and delivering care packages to seniors in need.
It's something that's going to affect everybody. We just have to do a better job of recognizing the humanness or the Americanness of each of us. And if we're going to, rise out of this, we got to do it together.
So this morning, we now have scientific analysis of how much of this you need in your house for 2 weeks. A family of 4, according to the IRI panel, has calculated that if you're at home and a little extra snacking, the magic number is 17. 17 rolls of double-ply TP.
For how long? For 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
That's for 2 weeks. That's for 2 weeks. Family of 4, 17.
Okay. All right. Meantime, Carrie, the EPA released this list of disinfectants because people are wondering, is my disinfectant doing the job? There are certain ones that are qualified and some of them aren't against the coronavirus. What do you know?
Well, there has been such a concern that nobody could get the specific items that they need, that they've been gone from the grocery stores. The EPA went through a list. They did some testing. Others, they just added onto the list. And so what we've done, but there's more than 200 of them, we put that list on our website, nbcnews.com/coronavirus. And I want to point out, as people are wondering, I've just come into somebody's house. We're all practicing social distancing. We're keeping, in fact, the cameraman, he's going to pull back here and show a wide shot. Even he and I are more than 6 feet apart. The whole idea is that we not only convey information, but that while we're in the field, we're practicing what we're preaching.
Yep, absolutely. Glad to see that, Carrie. Thank you so much.
All right, it's time to say hello to Al. Don't you love those words? Hello, Al Roker.
Good morning, Al. Good morning,
How you doing, honey?
sunshine.
Hey, hi guys. I'm so
excited about this 60 plus early shopping. I can't wait. This is really exciting. Another thing I'm excited about, warm temperatures. I mean, it is really warming up. Above average temperatures through the Gulf. Temperatures anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees above average from Texas into Florida. For tomorrow, it spreads all the way from Oklahoma into the mid-Atlantic states and Northeast. But then we got a cool down coming. You'll see those temperatures dropping almost 30 degrees from Chicago to Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and down into Nashville. That's what's going on around the country. There's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Good morning. We're tracking fog. This is a live look at Moody Gardens. Starting to see a little bit of clearing, at least in the parking lot where you would typically see Iceland in the winter months. It's nice and clear, but you can tell it's still hanging right over the pyramids. Eventually, we're going to get there. We're expecting the fog to be an issue till about 10 o'clock in the morning along the coast. Temperatures are at 70 degrees. It's warm out there. Our visibility in Galveston, a quarter of a mile, about a mile at Bush Airport. So even away from the coast, we have some areas that have some thick and low visibility. Here's a full look at that 10-day forecast. Nice cool down.
And that is your latest weather. From the Roper Kitchen, guys.
All right, pal. Thank you. Just ahead, the lessons America can learn from Europe's experience with the coronavirus. Kirsten has that story live from London's Trafalgar Square this morning. But first, these messages.
Introducing an unlimited coffee subscription for $8.99 a month. At Panera, your cup is always full.
Do you think your daughter likes you?
I've never thought about it.
I take motherhood for granted sometimes. Then you realize it wasn't that they needed you. You needed them.
Our skin tells a story. Because of these stretch marks, I have the most beautiful child in the world.
My childhood memories.
30 years of friendship. Stories that deserve the best care. Dove Body Wash's new formula with Skin Natural Moisturizers works with your skin for lasting care. So your skin can keep telling stories. Beautifully. New Dove Body Wash. Proven lasting care for the skin you live in.
Johnson & Johnson is a baby company, but we're also a cancer-fighting, HIV-controlling, joint replacing, and depression-relieving company. From the day you're born, we never stop taking care of you.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein and 27 vitamins and minerals. Ensure for strength and energy. Every morning, 17,000 Edward Jones financial advisors come to work with one goal in mind: to treat their individual investors like individuals.
Let's get started.
Edward Jones, it's time for investing to feel individual.
Allergies with nasal congestion make it feel impossible to breathe? Get relief behind the counter with Claritin D. Claritin D improves nasal airflow 2 times more than the leading allergy spray at hour 1. Claritin D. Get more airflow.
Forget invasive procedures and look up to 5 years younger in 12 weeks with new No. 7 Laboratories Firming Booster Serum. It lifts and firms so well, 80% of women said procedures can wait. New Firming Booster Serum from No. 7.
Is skincare from around the world better than Olay? To find out, Olay faced the world. We tested our vitamin D3 formula and beat Japan's top moisturizers. And even the $400 French cream. Olay Regenerist faced 131 premium products from 12 countries over 10 years. Olay's hydration was unbeaten every time. Olay, face anything. Want a light as air feel? Try Olay Whip.
Just to add you a question.
We have answers. Our experts will answer your wide-ranging coronavirus questions. But first, your local news.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Hey, do they ever ask you what you're wearing?
Yeah. Red sweater, button-down shirt, like a good neighbor. State Farm is there.
Kevin sure does talk a lot, but your car's in the shop, and this carpool's all you got. Best part of waking up is in your blood.
Never run dry of killer attitude, good moves, or hydration. Neutrogena Hydro Boost, the #1 hyaluronic acid moisturizer, delivers 2 times the hydration for supple, bouncy skin. Neutrogena.
You got to accent to aid the positive and even. Mix the negative and latch on to the affirmative, but don't mess with Mr. In Between.
Whether you're moving a friend to a new neighborhood or the local team to the season opener, we'll always go the extra mile to make your journey special. Hertz, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else, so why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase relieves your worst symptoms, which most pills don't. Get all-in-one allergy relief, 24 hours, with Flonase.
I didn't have to shout out for help.
Because you didn't have another DVT. Not today. One blood clot put you at risk of having another. So we chose Xarelto to help keep you protected.
Xarelto is proven to treat and reduce the risk of DVT or PE blood clots from happening again. Almost 98% of people did not have another DVT or PE. Don't stop taking Xarelto without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of blood clots. While taking a spinal injection increases the risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. You may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. Xarelto can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. It may increase your risk of bleeding if you take certain medicines. Get help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising. Do not take Xarelto if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. Before starting, tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures and any kidney or liver problems. Help protect yourself from another DVT or PE. Ask your doctor about Xarelto. To learn more about cost and how Janssen can help, visit Xarelto.com.
If I died, this group would help the kids if they need guidance. Casual dads.
Do you have a curious bone in your body? Go to Click to Houston's Ask 2 section. There you can ask the KPRC2 newsroom about anything in the Houston area you're curious about, like how Sugarland got its name. Check it out on clicktohouston.com.
It's our annual gigantic Red Tag sale going on now at Community. Red Tag deals equal big savings all month long on Community's huge selection of vehicles. That's right, gigantic savings, big selection, and our best offer for your trade. Drive a 2020 Toyota Corolla L for just $18,940 or a 2020 Highlander L for only $34,282. Community Toyota, ranked #1 in Google customer reviews, where everything we do is centered around you.
On the next Houston Life, celebrate St. Patrick's Day at home. 3 Irish coffee cocktails to help you get into the spirit.
Plus, head over to our Facebook page and let us know how you're staying busy at home. We're going to share some of your ideas today at 1.
This is a KPRC Channel 2 News update.
Getting close to 8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Andy Sirota. Due to the coronavirus, Metro is making changes starting this week. More buses will be put in service on heavily traveled local routes in order to lessen crowding. Because of social distancing, fewer seats will be available on buses, light rail, and Metrolift. Metro says the changes may result in delays on certain routes. Traffic is next.
Dripping faucets, clogged sewer lines, or water heater that stops heating. Abacus licensed plumbers can take care of any plumbing problem that you might have. They'll tell you in advance what your job will cost, and that price and the work is guaranteed. That's peace of mind. That's Abacus.
Our dad built U.S. coins based on fairness and integrity. It's the only way that I know to make sure that the customer's taken care of. Somebody brings something in that surprises us every day. That drives me. Just because you have a coin collection, you may not be ready to sell it, but you might want to know what it's worth. We're here in Memorial. Please bring it in. You have zero obligation. We'll tell you exactly what it's worth. And if you don't sell it to us, that does not hurt our feelings. I love seeing the coins. That's my job.
Cadillac invites you to move up in the world at the Cadillac Move Up sales event. Move up to available Wi-Fi hotspot capability. Move up to cutting-edge design. Move up to something a little more, well, Cadillac. Make your way to your nearest Cadillac showroom today. Get this low-mileage lease on this 2020 Cadillac XT4 for around $359 per month. Visit your Houston area Cadillac dealer today.
Flickering lights, warm switches, and bulbs that burn out faster than they should might mean serious electrical problems. Abacus licensed electricians have the experience to protect your home from electrical surges, install a new breaker box, or even a ceiling fan. Abacus, you can count on us.
Hey, good morning. Let's get you out the door. Nice and green across your map. This yellow, though, is fog, patchy fog, and dense fog in some areas. Let's take a look at one situation here. This is the West Beltway at Tanner. We've got a two-car crash here, and it is affected the right shoulder. Cars are squeezing on by. I want to show you a wider look, though. Not really affecting traffic as far as a backup is concerned. So that's what we like to see. Here is your inbound drive times. Nice and green all across the map. Have a good day, everyone.
The three-row Subaru Ascent. Room for up to 8 passengers. Choice of second-row captain's chairs or bench seating. Standard eyesight driver assist technology. Coming from Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 5 years running, the three-row Subaru Ascent. Love is now bigger than ever.
Get 0% APR financing on the 2020 Ascent at the Subaru A Lot to Love event and maintain the love with 2 years of complimentary maintenance.
We are Channel 2 Investigates.
It's 8 o'clock on today. Coming up, closing time. Cities across the country virtually shutting down as officials enforce strict new rules. Some business owners already feeling the heat.
I don't know financially how I'm going to pay my bills.
As the White House offers up new guidelines for all Americans. We're live with the 3 things to watch. Plus, with you today, for the next hour, we will be answering your questions from Facebook and Instagram about the coronavirus, from health to your money to just keeping it all together. Our team of experts is on call with everything you need to know. And out of the hospital, we've got the latest update on Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, after the couple tested positive for the coronavirus. Plus, how another big star is confronting the disease with a positive message.
Now's the time for solidarity. Now's the time for thinking about each other.
Today, Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. And welcome back to Today on this Tuesday morning. We're just going to tell you we are so happy that you are with us today, and we're going to be with you every day. So just a reminder, we're here virtually holding your hands as we get through this sort of new normal of what's going on.
Yeah, we're like really honored by your presence and you being here with us. We know you're inside. Yeah. Now we're hoping to keep you company and give you some good information. Also, it's hard, you can't celebrate things like birthdays and anniversaries. Right. We're used to our crowd out here. It's like a piece of our heart is missing when we don't have folks out there. Well, we want to help. Okay, so how about this? You send us your pictures, your videos, give us a little info about them, and we're going to do an on-air shout out. We're going to get this going. Use the hashtag with you today because we really want to be with you during this time, a hard time in our country.
We certainly do. You guys, coming up tomorrow, we're going to have a great interview, a live interview with NBA star Kevin Love. He's one of the first players to step up, and he donated to the arena staff. Those are the folks who sell hot dogs and Cokes and all that kind of stuff. They're obviously impacted by the league shutdown. Kevin is also very vocal on the importance of mental health. So we're going to talk to him about how he's coping, and also he can probably share some great advice for all.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody's going to be excited to hear from him. He's going to call in, I believe. Let's get right to your news at 8 o'clock. The White House has released its strongest guidelines yet to slow this rapidly spreading coronavirus here in the U.S., but some local governments are taking it even further. NBC's Tom Costello joins us with the 3 things he's watching today on this crisis. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. I think the severity of this pandemic and this national emergency really was driven home in the last 24 hours or so. The White House announcing these new guidelines, and they are quite important and for everybody to listen to, urging Americans to avoid gathering in groups of 10 people or more for the next 15 days. What they're trying to do, let me heard that expression. It means trying to right now limit the expansion or the growth of this virus and the spread of the virus as fast as they can, and therefore keep a cascade of people from hitting ERs and ICUs all at once. So it's critically important, says the White House, that we all try to hunker down at least for the next 15 days. Major cities taking this even further, drastic measures. San Francisco ordering 7 million people right now shelter in place, stay home, and a growing number of cities, as you know, nationwide, are urging Americans to do the same. They're also closing restaurants and bars and gyms and theaters. Big cities, and they're just about everywhere, from D.C. and New York out to the West Coast, including Denver, Chicago, just about everywhere in the country, the same thing happening. And this is so important. They are urging millennials to please listen to this, because while you, a young person, may not get sick, you will very likely be exposed to the virus, and you can carry the virus and expose somebody else who is just walking along on the street, who may be in the grocery store, who may be a beloved family member or friend, and they could be very vulnerable. It could be life-threatening for them. So millennials are being encouraged. Please listen and play a civic role here, your civic duty. Lastly, a clinical trial is underway right now in Seattle, a very fast rollout of this test, or this vaccine, I should say, that was developed by the NIH. 45 people, healthy young people, in Seattle now are a part of this clinical vaccine trial, but a widespread rollout, if it is successful, wouldn't happen for 12 to 18 months. And ladies, I'll tell you that this is really just one of dozens of programs worldwide involving medical centers and universities worldwide trying to come up with a vaccine, and also, by the way, antiviral treatments just as quickly as possible. Back to you.
We have so much respect for our medical professionals and scientists and how hard they're working right now, Tom. Thank you very much.
The Europeans have seen some of the worst consequences of the pandemic so far, and their leaders are struggling to kind of wage a united war against this common enemy. Today, senior international correspondent Keir Simmons joins us from London with the very latest. Hey, Keir, good morning.
Hey, Hoda, good morning. This is the world-famous Trafalgar Square, and look how the world has changed. This is stunning to me. This place feels like a Sunday. That street behind me underneath Big Ben, that's right next to the Prime Minister's residence in Downing Street, and look how quiet that is. Now, yesterday we spoke about how the British government is trying to delay its response. That's all changed in the past 24 hours after the British Prime Minister was given a report warning of a catastrophic epidemic. And now a senior World Health Organization official telling NBC News what's happening here in Europe could happen in America. In Europe's historic cities and streets, events not seen this century. Lines outside French food stores, checks at the German border.
Nous sommes en guerre.
The French president warning, we are at war. Even the British now in retreat after UK scientists warn 250,000 people could die. Britain's Prime Minister urging people to stay home.
To save life, minimize suffering, and to give our NHS the chance to cope.
Students Madeline O'Farrell and Abby Coe from Salt Lake City are stranded in London.
I think I'm so stressed that I've just become numb. I know if we get stuck in London for a while, we'll figure that out too.
G7 leaders meeting by video conference. And this morning, a senior official from the World Health Organization himself self-isolating.
I'm over 70. I'm the kind of person who really ought to avoid getting this infection.
How quickly is the coronavirus spreading through Europe?
I think it's doubling in scale every 3 days.
This map from Johns Hopkins University shows how, in a matter of months, COVID-19 has spread around the globe. World health officials telling America,
get ready now for the new reality that's coming.
Italy hit hardest. Doctors forced to choose who to save. One city proposing not to treat people over the age of 80. But this morning, a glimmer of hope.
I've just seen some early data that suggests that perhaps the rate of the outbreak's advancement in northern Italy is starting to slow down.
Europe throwing all its resources at stopping the virus. In Spain, the army disinfecting train stations. An epic struggle against an invisible enemy, but a war that can be won. One of the reasons that the UK has tried not to move too fast is because of that fear from scientists that when life starts up again, the virus restarts. So let me just show you across here, 18th century church is still open. You can see there are still buskers here in the streets. The British National Gallery, guys, is still open, but I think it's only a matter of time before the UK closes down, just like many of those other European countries have. One advantage for the US, guys, is that what's happened in Asia and what's happened in Europe is providing lessons for officials there. So that's a positive.
All right, Keir from Trafalgar Square. Keir, thank you. We do have a programming note. NBC will have a live primetime special on the coronavirus pandemic. It's going to be anchored by Lester Holt. It'll be this Thursday night at 10 Eastern right here on NBC and on MSNBC. All right, we have the news covered, and we're going to kind of go overboard on boosts because we feel like people need them. So will you?
We need a booster.
Will you start the booster?
Let's do a double boost. Okay. I've got one too today. People are finding all kinds of ways to lift each other up during really challenging times. Some are being generous with their money, others with their time or their spirit. Well, in Ohio, as you know, bars and restaurants were ordered to shut down Sunday night. So one loyal customer did something really cool. Left something extra with their final tab. They left a $2,500 tip with a note that said, please split this money evenly among the staff. The bill, by the way, was $29.75.
Okay. Chills from that beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. How about this one? This one's going to melt your heart. I love this lady. A woman named Charo. She's at her house quarantined in Spain. It was her 80th birthday. She opened her door and look what she saw. A surprise birthday cake and a serenade from neighbors.
Feliz, cumpleaños feliz, te deseamos todos.
Other neighbors opened their windows and sang and applause. And by the way, can we just say happy birthday to
Let's add to it. You know, look for something today. Some way you can show kindness. It matters so much, especially right now. Just ahead, we are going to take the rest of this hour and we're going to devote it to your questions. Anything you want to ask about the coronavirus, our experts from all walks of life are here. We can talk about the medical side of this, what aggravates the symptoms, safety. Could you go to a salon appointment, consumer things, what works to clean, and what is going to happen with this economy? Our experts are here. Your questions next. But first, these messages.
You deserve more. Find more smooth with Vanity Fair's Beauty Bag Collection. Get more sizes, more styles, more colors. Beauty Bag smooths your back for a flawless look under any outfit. The Beauty Bag Collection has the smoothing bra just for you. How could you ever ask for more? The Beauty Bag Collection by Vanity Fair.
Hey, allergy muddlers. Do your sneezes turn heads? Try Zyrtec. Zyrtec starts working hard at hour 1 and works twice as hard when you take it again the next day. Zyrtec, muddle no more.
And try Zyrtec D for proof and relief of your allergies, sinus pressure, and congestion.
I like Liberty Mutual. They get that no two people are alike. And customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. What do you think?
Oh, see it. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
At Pure Leaf, saying no is the most important ingredient in making herbal iced tea. By selecting the finest botanicals, we say no caffeine, no stress. No better way to relax after a long day of anything. Pure Leaf. No is beautiful.
Security! Security!
What's wrong, ma'am?
I have a serious issue with the candy that Easter Bunny gave my son.
Candy?
I told you! He bit me first! The kid bit me first! He just walked into my mouth!
Dove Men Plus Care, the strength test. Like leather, skin is stronger when it's hydrated. That's why Dove Men Plus Care Body Wash has a unique hydrating formula to leave skin healthier and stronger.
It's Macy's VIP sale. Get an extra 30% off with your coupon or Macy's card on designers that rarely go on sale. And 15% off beauty. Switch! Now at Macy's.
Something big is coming home. Oh no.
Oh, say it! Jumanji!
The #1 comedy of the year. You all know what that means. It's the whole family wears. Jumanji, the next level. Watch and keep on Blu-ray and digital.
I'm offensive assistant coach for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not just here to be the token female. I'm here to help us win. The Surface Pro helps me get what's in my head and get it out onto the field.
Let's go! Let's run it again! Run it again!
There's a bunch of whole almonds in every bar of Hershey's milk chocolate with almonds. Don't believe us? See back for details.
Hey, Terry.
Hey.
Oh, I didn't know you fed Bubbles cat chow.
Yeah, you give Molly Blue Buffalo, huh?
Molly devours it, and I love the ingredients.
Like what?
Deboned chicken meal, Manhattan fish meal, brown rice, and barley.
Cat chow's pretty similar, I think. Chicken byproduct meal, whole grain corn, soy flour, and gluten meal. Okay, but Blue's more expensive.
I did the math. Blue's less than 15 cents more a day.
We're switching to Blue, Bubbles!
Show your gut some love. Only Activia has billions of our live and active probiotics, a delicious way to enjoy probiotics every day with 20 years of devotion to gut health. Activia, like no other.
Unexpected situation? L'Oreal's Magic Root Cover-Up. 3 seconds to flawless roots. 3, 2, 1. Roots gone. Magic Root Cover-Up by L'Oreal Paris.
Look for the turquoise one.
Take your time, build a home, build a place where all can be known.
Give extra, get extra with Extra Refresher Scum.
According to her daughter, she spends too much time on the internet. According to the census, she just needs a few minutes more. The census is now online. And by answering a few simple questions, you'll help inform where public funding will get distributed for things like Medicare, community centers, public transit, and more. Then you can get back to whatever you were doing in no time at all. Shape your future. Start here. Complete the census at 2020census.gov.
Get this. Your detergent may contain disodium distyrobiphenol disulfonate. Yeah, I don't know either. Switch to 7th generation. Clean clothes, no unnecessary chemicals.
Free one-day delivery, video, music, and more. With Prime. Wherever we want to go, auto-save your way there with Chase. Chase, make more of what's yours.
What if you could go into the past, back before the fishing line was cast, to see that it was sustainable wild caught, so you can feel good about the fish that you bought? We know the story of all the fish that we've sold, because that's what makes us whole.
Did you know diarrhea is often caused by bad bacteria in food? Try peptodiarrhea. Peptodiarrhea is proven effective to treat symptoms, and it also targets the cause of diarrhea. The 3 times concentrated liquid formula coats and kills bacteria to relieve diarrhea. While the leading competitor does nothing to kill the bacteria, peptodiarrhea gets to the source, killing the bad bacteria. So try peptodiarrhea. And remember to have it on hand every time you travel. Also try Pepto-Bismol liquid caps for on-the-go relief.
We're back with the launch of With You Today, a special hour dedicated to answering as many of your questions as we can about the coronavirus as we face this uncertainty of what's to come. We know you have a lot of questions. We do too. They've been pouring in on Facebook and Instagram. Keep it coming. We've gathered our team of experts from the medical and mental health fields, consumer, financial words. We're going to pick their brains over the next hour. Let's start with the man we've all been counting on, Dr. Torres. All right, here's a question from Lauren. She wants to know, how long does it take to show symptoms if you come in contact with the virus?
So what they found out is people who start getting symptoms, half of them will get them within 5 days. Almost everybody gets them within 12 days. And that's why they have the 14-day incubation period. Add a couple days on the end as a buffer.
Okay, real quick. I mean, a lot of us, might have a sniffly nose or whatever. What is the telltale sign that this could be coronavirus?
So the two biggest telltale signs are getting that fever and developing shortness of breath. If you develop shortness of breath, that's definitely time to seek medical help.
Okay, this question comes from Hoda across the studio. She read that taking widely used over-the-counter anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen may worsen the coronavirus. I saw that article too. I mean, that's the stuff you would take to keep your fever down.
And from Hoda, I thought it'd be a toilet paper question.
No, we all did.
And it's very theoretical. French health minister put out a tweet saying ibuprofen might actually make things worse with coronavirus, but it's very theoretical. Nothing's been proven about that. And a lot of experts are saying it doesn't really matter, but if you're concerned, take acetaminophen instead of ibuprofen to reduce your fevers.
Okay, but we don't yet know if that's the case. Okay, Jared is wondering, if you test negative for the virus, do you still recommend staying isolated or self-quarantined?
So if you're quarantined for 14 days because you were exposed, you want to stay quarantined for the full 14 days. Even if you test negative at day 6 or 7, exactly what we talked about. It could be day 12 or 14 before you get it. If you have symptoms and you're isolated, you definitely need to stay isolated until you get those 2 negative tests within 24 hours of each other.
Okay, Linda says she's basically had a dry cough for days, but no other symptoms. Could that be the coronavirus with only that symptom?
Coronavirus can have one symptom, no symptoms, multiple symptoms. A dry cough definitely could be part of coronavirus. The main things are the cough, runny nose, fever are the biggest things, and shortness of breath.
Okay, we've got somebody actually on a live shot, Sarah Wilburn of Richmond, Virginia. Hi, Sarah. What's your question for Dr. John?
Yes, how will we know that things are getting better or the virus is starting to slow down? And then what are the experts looking for as signs of improvement?
Sarah, that's a fantastic question. And you hear about them talking about flattening the curve and the wave they talk about coming through towards the end of the summer. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at, we know this curve is going to go up, meaning more cases. We're on the incline right now, and it's going to start coming down. When it starts coming down and sustain coming down, then we'll start saying, okay, it looks like we're getting out of the woods, but we still need to make all the effort to get that down.
But we don't know that until we're testing in a very routine
the testing
manner.
is, like I said, it's a linchpin to all of this.
Yeah, all right, Dr. John, thank you, Sarah. Good question. Keep them coming. Consumer questions. Hoda's got
You
that.
got it, Savannah. We do have some consumer questions. Vicky's with us. All right, Vic. This one is a lot of women are thinking about this one. First question comes from Kim. She has a nail appointment this week. Is it okay for her to go?
Okay, Kim, the answer right now is we are limiting all non-essential trips out of our house. We're being asked to stay home by public health officials so we can flatten the curve and limit the spread of this infection. The question you need to ask yourself is, do I need to have this done? Does it have to happen now? If you're making a trip out to get food or medicine, obviously the answer is yes.
Yeah.
A nail salon, you're going to be in very close contact with someone else. You're putting them at risk. They're putting you at risk. The official answer from public health officials would be, this is not a good time.
This is a no. Okay, so we're on the topic. Robert is a hairstylist, and he wants to know, and I have a friend who's also in this boat right here, should he cancel all of his appointment? Now, keep in mind, these guys are trying to pay their bills, and they need income.
Yeah, this is their livelihood. They don't have paid leave. They're in that same boat with so many other workers who, if they stay home, they're not getting a paycheck. I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you how long this is going to last and when it's going to be over. What we do know is the more that we do now to hunker down, the shorter and less severe the impact will be to our economy. So what I would say to Robert is, probably a lot of your appointments are canceling on you in addition. So if you can, take this time, be healthy so that when you get back in the game, you're able to do your job.
Yeah, I do think it's important that we make our own choices because sometimes in different communities, the message is confusing.
Right.
Some communities are cracking down. Some are saying, oh, it's okay. We're going to keep this open and that open. And you really kind of have to go with what's kind of your inner compass.
We're hearing some governors saying we need some federal rules here so that everyone doesn't state shop and just do their own thing.
All right, we've got a question from Fran. Let's roll the tape.
Hi, my name is Fran McEwen. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. And my husband and I like to go camping in our travel trailer. And we were wondering if that was still a safe option for us.
A lot of people love to do that. They do tell you to get outside.
Yes.
So what do you say?
It's so important for your mental health to be outside, to be with nature. The thing is, Fran, the president is asking all Americans to limit, basically to stop discretionary travel.
Right.
So you got to ask yourself these questions from the CDC. Do you have any underlying health conditions?
Right.
Are you going somewhere where there's a coronavirus outbreak or the potential for a coronavirus outbreak? And that could be where you're heading. Do you have a plan for what happens if you get sick? These are the questions you need to ask. And then when you come back, are you going to be in contact with people who may be vulnerable? It's not just about you, and it's not just about going about with your normal activities. This is not a normal time, and we are going to have to cut back on some of the things that we like to do.
On another note, if people just want to go out and get fresh air, I took the kids out. I had them in the stroller, and we were walking. And there was nobody around, but fresh air is important, and the UV rays are important.
Yes, getting some of that vitamin D, absolutely. If you can go out at times where it's not busy, you're going somewhere, maybe you don't have them on the playground touching the equipment, but you have them in the grass.
A lot of people are home, they're shut in, and they have pets. And one of their big concerns is, can my pet get it? What's the answer there?
The CDC says right now they have not identified a single pet, dog, animal, any sort of pet in the United States with coronavirus, and that they do not believe that there is a risk of pets spreading or contracting coronavirus. That said, they haven't done tests about, this is another question I get is, how long does it live on pet fur? If someone pets my dog, do I have to bathe the dog right away? There's no test that has been done or study that has been done. So the idea is you shouldn't be close enough for someone to be petting your animal anyway. If you do take the dog out for a walk, just stay in your own space.
Vicki, thank you. And we're happy you're here.
Yes,
I'm glad that all worked out. Just ahead, we're going to get your questions about navigating family life, including tips on homeschooling your kids. But first, what do you say we check in with Mr. Roker? There's Deborah in the background. Hi, Al.
Hey there. How you doing, guys? I don't know that Deborah wanted to be seen in the background, but she's making Nick's breakfast. So let's show you what we've got going on as far as your weather today is concerned. We are looking at, again, a little snow developing in northern New England. That's going to be an interesting thing. It's just a little snow still hanging around. We're also looking at sunshine through the plains, lingering snow making its way through the west coast, and look for severe storms developing into the coast, and also down through Texas and the Ohio River Valley. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Good morning. We're looking pretty good along the Southwest Freeway. It's warm and muggy out there, and it's going to be a very warm day, topping off at 80 degrees, but we still have some very low visibility at the coast. That's what it did look like in Galveston earlier this morning, with the visibility down still at a quarter of a mile. We have a dense fog advisory for Southeast Harris County and our coastal counties until 10 o'clock this morning, but we are even seeing some light patchy fog develop in North Harris County, Montgomery County, so take that extra caution over the next couple hours. Here's a look at what we're expecting over the next 10 days. We're going from warm conditions to nice cool down this weekend.
And that is your latest weather. And there goes Nick.
Hi, Nick. Hi, Deborah. Hi. All right. Thanks, Al.
Everybody says hi.
Coming up, guys, you have a lot of questions, and we have people who are going to answer them. Plus, some good news for Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson as they recover from the coronavirus. But first, your local news.
No panic, no hype, just the facts.
We do want to be open and transparent with you in our coronavirus coverage.
Count on KPRC Channel 2 and click to Houston.com for instant access to important information about the coronavirus, like answers to your most common questions, work from home help, and strategies to help reduce your risk. Together, we can take action against the spread of the virus. As you do your part, we at KPRC2 ask for your continued trust as we do ours. It's the rush of relaxation. Introducing the all-new Lincoln Corsair. This is a KPRC Channel 2 News Update.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Britta Merwin. We are tracking fog this morning, but improvements to come. We're expecting mostly cloudy skies today, a warm one at 80 degrees.
This should be perfect for you. You're like cheesy. You like cheesy jokes.
My jokes are not cheesy. Everybody laughs. Everybody, you laugh. No.
You hear all the silence out there.
Very cheesy. Junior double stack cheeseburgers.
It's our annual gigantic red tag sale going on now at Community. Red tag deals equal big savings all month long on Community's huge selection of vehicles. That's right, gigantic savings, big selection, and our best offer for your trade. 20 CRV LX FWD for $24,645, or lease a 20 Honda Civic LX sedan for $199 per month. Community Honda, ranked #1 in Google customer reviews, where everything we do is centered around you.
One drop. Oh. Gorilla Super Glue Micro Precise. Of course. Precise application. Controlled dispensing with Gorilla Strength. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Greg, are you seeing this? I have never seen such a gorgeous lawn.
When you see a great lawn, it's all you see. Their lawn's on a whole other level. Call the experts at True Green for a custom plan to make your lawn thick green, healthy, and weed-free.
You always say chocolate so weird. It's like chocolate.
You know,
chocolate.
we talk the same.
Chocolate. Chocolate.
I
It's
can
like-
hear y'all, and then y'all say it's very.
No, that's just when I'm imitating you. Teresa's overload waffle cone. Chocolate.
Hey, good Tuesday morning. Let's get you out the door here. This yellow you're seeing on the map, that is some fog in some areas. Still fog issues down at the coast, so keep that in mind as you're coming in. North Loop at Hardy, we had reports of a 2-car crash here, but all clear now for you on your Tuesday morning. Let's take a look at the West Beltway. This is at Tanner. Yeah, this 2-car crash right there is still working, not causing issues at all for any drivers, getting on by just fine. Here are your inbound drive times on this St. Patrick's Day. All green and clear, 26 minutes in from the Woodlands, 23 minutes in from Katy, 11 minutes in from Pearland. Stay safe out there, guys.
Our not-so-standard spring event is over soon.
Yeah, I'll take it. If you give us the 2 years of carefree scheduled maintenance.
That's standard.
And a turbocharged engine and a smartphone integration.
Yep, all comes standard. Oh, well, what if I give you all of this for practically just a signature? You basically just sign and drive.
Don't tell her.
Volkswagen's list of standard features goes on, but this event won't. Hurry in during the not-so-standard spring event. You can lease a new 2020 Tiguan. 0 down, 0 deposit, 0 first month payment, and 0 to its sign. Practically just sign and drive.
TPRC2 celebrates Women's History Month.
Tonight, Jimmy has Kevin Bacon. And Tan France with Password. Machine. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon tonight.
We're back. It's 8:30. It's Tuesday morning, 17th of March, 2020. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yes, it
Everybody
is.
wear the green as you chill at home. And just ahead, we've got a lot more as we continue this hour, totally devoted to your Q&A about the coronavirus.
I like this idea. So many people have questions. Dr. Torres will be here, and a mental health expert will talk about how we can handle this time of stress as people work from home and as kids are being schooled at home.
Yeah, why are people stressed? Take a look at the economy. That's why Stephanie rules with that part of it, tackling consumer questions, including a big one that a lot of folks had about tax season, which is, of course, upon us in a few weeks.
We're going to light things up a little bit, too. Pop star, wait until you see what Chris Martin did live on Instagram. It'll make you smile if you're a Coldplay fan or whether you are or not. It's pretty awesome in this new age of social distancing.
All right, but let's get a first check of the weather from Mr. Roker. Hey, Al. At home right now. Hi, Al. Good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. Good to see you guys. Wish I was there with you, but we'll be before too long. Let's look at what's going on as far as our weather today is concerned. We are looking at snow developing in parts of the Northeast, so winter not quite done. Severe storms also stretching from Texas into Oklahoma. Lingering snow back through the Cascades and the Sierra. For tomorrow, it's much milder in the mid-plains. Severe storms continue from Texas, then start to make their way into the mid-Mississippi and Ohio River valleys with heavy rain. And there's a lot of warmth coming in from the Gulf Coast. Temperatures anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees above average. That's what's going on around the country. Here's what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Good morning. Overcast skies. Here's a live look towards Miller Outdoor Theater, or pardon me, closer to Centennial Gardens. It's very overcast out there. We're also tracking some fog at the coast, and temperatures are at 70 degrees. It's going to be warm and muggy day after we get past this very foggy start. Dense fog advisory continues for our coastal counties, Southeast Harris County. But look at Tomball, Conroe, light patchy fog, even extending out towards Washington County. Take that extra caution this morning. It is St. Patrick's day, try and get outside. So that social distancing, but enjoy warm.
And that is your latest weather. We'll be back at the top of the third hour. Craig Melvin will be joining, so we'll see how he's doing as he teaches school for his kids.
Oh my gosh. All right. One of those crazy conference calls, you know, where you're like, is this on? Is it? Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, Al, thank you so much. Just ahead, Stephanie Rule helps us tackle the biggest financial questions tied to this coronavirus outbreak, including where to turn for help if you're self-employed, and so many of you are. We will answer those questions. But first, this is Today on NBC.
Does your yard need color? Houston Garden Centers has more color for sun or shade than anyone. Zinnias, coleus, begonias, impatiens, vinca, petunias, and lots more. All at Houston Garden Centers with better plans for less.
It's starting to happen every day. People are surprising themselves the moment they realize they can do more with less asthma. Thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma. Dupixent isn't for sudden breathing problems. It can improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks and help prevent severe asthma attacks. It's not a steroid, but can help reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Don't use if allergic to Dupixent. Serious allergic reactions can occur, including anaphylaxis, which is severe. Tell your doctor right away about signs of inflamed blood vessels, such as rash, shortness of breath, chest pain, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection and before stopping any asthma medicines, including oral steroids. Do more with less asthma. Talk to your doctor about Dupixent.
Watch the future come alive.
Meet the first ever Mazda CX-30. Feel alive.
Right now is the perfect time to grow your own flavorful herbs. And we have a huge selection of herbs at Houston Garden Centers. Oregano, cilantro, tarragon, Asian herbs, and much more. At Houston Garden Centers with better plans for less.
We're back with Steph Rule and more of our With You Today hour.
We are answering your questions as more cities issue curfews and business closures. Money's on everybody's mind. The economy, everyone's worried about it. Our first question we can get through FaceTime. This is Pete Turnus. He's a local restaurant owner in Chicago. And gosh, Pete, we know these are hard times. What's your question?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Just curious, we're really worried about our employees here, and was wondering if we're going to see any leadership from insurance companies on this issue to mitigate our losses, plus support employees.
Pete, I just want to say we are 100% with you. You know, we've talked in the last few days how it's important in terms of health to close down restaurants and bars, but it's really important to think about your livelihood and all of your employees. Now, what private insurance companies are doing, we don't yet know, but as far as the government, today at 9 o'clock, the president is actually meeting with restaurant executives. We know that the Small Business Association, and I urge you to go there, sba.gov, is working overtime to process emergency loans. And you said you're in Chicago, did you say?
Yeah, that's right.
Go to the state of Illinois, and I want you to be, when you look up your state, make sure you're not looking up .com, any websites, always .gov, and look up the development website, because that's where we're seeing more and more emergency funding. And I just want you to know this is being considered, your employers are being considered, and I know there's not resolutions right now, but even companies, possibly your credit card company, your utility company, broadband and internet providers are putting a hold on a lot of people and companies' bills to get you through this time.
Thanks.
Pete, we're with you. We are with you. Thanks for caring about your employees.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Sending our love.
All right. We've got a question for you, Miss Rule. This comes from Tess. She's currently under contract to sell her home and buy a new one. Should she be concerned about mortgage rate increases, etc.?
Okay, her mortgage rates are not going to go up. Remember, 2 days ago, we saw the Fed slash rates. So that shouldn't be a worry. Something to consider, though,
if she's moving in next month, she's going to have movers in her house. She may have furniture delivery people in her house. So make sure she's very transparent with every company, everyone that's going in and out of her home, because it's not just financial, it's physical. Remember, all of these people in her life, but as far as mortgage rates going up, that's not something to consider.
Or a transaction. Should you not be doing these kinds of transactions?
Should you pause?
This isn't something you necessarily need to pause. Listen, the government has told you all the things that need to pause as far as being around a whole lot of people, being with anyone, over 10, but 10 people, not age of 10. But as far as a financial transaction, that's okay. The system is absolutely still working.
Okay. Lynn has a question about production facilities. She said, are they ramping up production to get shelves stocked? I assume she means grocery store shelves, that kind of stuff.
And the answer to that is absolutely yes. We were talking about it yesterday. Louis Vuitton, right? A luxury brand is taking their perfume manufacturing operations and making hand sanitizer.
Which is great, but that's a brand.
Okay, but that's also just a one-off. We are seeing stores, Walmart, for example, extend their hours. You talked about it earlier, some grocery stores giving specific hours for senior citizens. But I promise you, local and national chains are doing everything they can to work on their supply chain. Amazon yesterday announced it is hiring another 100,000 workers, increasing pay by $2 to help get all this product out.
Judy has a question for you, Steph. She's got taxes on her mind. She had a tax appointment. They canceled it. So she wants to know if that April 15th deadline is going to be stretched.
The president has already said we're going to extend that deadline, but we don't know details. So to be on the safe side, you may want to preemptively file an extension. But for some people, they really want to get that rebate. So for those who can get theirs done, you may want to get it done sooner rather than later if it's that money that you're really going to be in need of.
Okay, our last question is Phil. He's self-employed. He wants to know how any of these recent financial announcements help him out.
This is a huge issue. And Phil, we are with you. We've got more self-employed people, gig economy people than ever. And unfortunately, we don't have the regulation to match it. We didn't catch up with it, but it's being focused on right now. And if you work for some of the gig economy companies, Instacart, Lyft, Uber, they are now providing support, sick leave for their employees. If you are truly self-employed, I go back to the Go to Your State website, the development website, and there are plans in place and more are coming.
All right. Stephanie, thank you.
Coming up
with you.
Yes, we are with you. Coming up next, we're going to answer your biggest concerns about mental health in these anxious times, including how to talk to your high school and college seniors who may miss out on some big once-in-a-lifetime events. But first, this is Today on NBC.
Tonight's NBC primetime lineup starts at 7, right here on KPRC Channel 2.
Here's a special offer from Abacus. Purchase a new Rheem water heater with express installation, and we include a free garbage disposal, a new water heater, and a free disposal, both installed fast. Abacus Express Installation. You can count on us.
It's the final days of Truck Month.
And it's always bigger and better at Randall Reed's Planet Ford. 2 giant locations in Spring and Humble. Save $20,000 on new F-150s.
Save on these trucks before they're gone.
$20,000 off during Truck Month. Only at Planet Ford in Spring and in Humble.
2 giant Houston locations. 1 legendary Planet of dealerships.
Online at planetford.com.
Truck Month savings you don't want to miss.
This is Karen's land. It's been here a long time, and so is she, along with Mojo. The first fence post went up here. Now there's 5,000 of them. After the storm, she started the cleanup here. This is more than just land. It's home. Karen runs with us on a John Deere 3E Series tractor because who says a day's work has to take all day? Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 3E Series for more. Get a 3E Series tractor starting at $139 per month.
If you have a clogged drain or sewer line, the sewer experts at Abacus will find the problem with a high-tech camera and fix it quickly. Call anytime 24/7, including weekends or holidays, and ask about our 1-2-3 Drain Clean special. Abacus, you can count on us.
Is it time for your routine teeth cleaning? Should you go to the dentist or cancel? Is it safe? The new recommendations. Plus, working from home, not as easy as it sounds. How to tackle the biggest challenges. And all the overnight results from today's presidential primaries, Wednesday morning.
We're back 8:42. More of our special With You Today question and answer session on navigating life during the coronavirus. Many of you have kids of all ages and they're stuck at home, and that definitely raises some specific concerns. Got a lot of questions about that online. And in collaboration with Facebook, our team of experts is here to help. We've got Dr. John Torres. He's here along with Jamie Howard now. She's a clinical psychologist at the Child Mind Institute. It's good to have you both here. Thank you. So let's get to the questions. Kathy on Facebook writes, this is for you, Dr. John. I'm 77 and have my 6-year-old grandson here today. My primary care doctor just told me no more contact with him or other family members as they are still out and about and going to stores. Can I see them outside as long as they stay 6 feet away and are not coughing or sneezing? I mean, so many grandmas and grandpas feeling this.
I get a lot of questions from grandparents wanting to see the grandkids, and it depends on why your primary care doctor is telling you to avoid them. If it's because you have issues, autoimmune issues, immune system issues, if you have risk factors, those different types of medical conditions.
I mean, more than just age.
More than just age, then you want to stay away from them. Even outdoors, you have to be a little bit careful because it's hard to tell a 6-year-old not to touch grandma, not to run over there and give her a hug, not to throw her a ball or anything like that. If you're a healthy 77-year-old and don't have any other conditions, then I don't see anything wrong with being outside, as long, again, as that 6-year-old understands, hey, let's have this separation. Here's why we have the separation. And I wouldn't even play ball or anything, but just, kind of talk to them. And
stay 6 feet away. No hugs and kisses. None of that stuff. Okay, it's just temporary.
It's tough. It's just temporary. We will
FaceTime is great right now for grandma and grandpa. Kelly from Facebook, Jamie, this is a question for you. What advice can you give on talking to your high school senior who is showing signs of depression and anxiety due to no school activities, no spring sports, the possibility of no prom and graduation? This is a biggie.
Yeah, it's super disappointing. So it's totally normal for kids to feel sad, even angry, disappointed right now. So you can validate that. But in time, in the next few weeks, we want kids to start to accept this. And then if they're still feeling sad or irritable most of the day, nearly every day for weeks, then we want to intervene. And we can intervene as parents, and we can say, you need to come out of your room. We're going to watch a movie as a family, for example. You need to go in the backyard a little bit. Or you can even see a mental health care professional right now. We're all seeing our patients remotely.
You are, okay. Dr. John, this question is Elise on Instagram. She's asking, any feedback on breastfeeding? Should we be exposed to the virus at all?
We still don't know a whole lot about this virus. In particular, we don't know much about pregnant women, but the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists came out saying there's really no evidence that pregnant women have any increased risk of getting it or increased risk of complications from this. As far as breastfeeding, it doesn't seem like it passes through the breast milk. And what they do say is the baby has a bigger chance of catching coronavirus if the mom has it, if she's breathing or coughing or sneezing on them, than through the breast milk itself. So just make sure that you cover up, you do the things you need to do to protect the baby from you. And if you are breastfeeding and you have symptoms like that, think about pumping and giving them that way, somebody else breastfeeding them at the same time.
Okay, this is Lauren on Facebook asking, why are states shutting down schools but not daycares? What's the difference?
It was interesting. Yesterday in the press conference that the White House task force had, they asked that question, and Dr. Fauci paused for a minute and said, you're right. We should look at this, at putting daycares in the same equivalency as schools.
I thought they did.
I think they're going to look at it and they're going to say, let's go ahead and do that. But at this point, there's really no difference between the two.
All right, Jamie, this is a complicated question for some families. And this is a viewer who wrote, with split families, kids are going back and forth between parents, homes, family, and friends. Is this safe? What's the best practice?
From a mental health perspective, you want to have routine and predictability. So if you can maintain your routine for switching homes, that's great. Hopefully you're on the same page about social distancing and having people inside the home. If not, maybe you need to change and have chunks of time, larger chunks of time, but tell your kids you're doing that so that it's still predictable for them.
What about
from a health perspective, for the most part, the same thing. The more contacts you have, the more risk you have. And so you want to be careful with that at the same point. If somebody's sick, obviously in one house, then absolutely do not go to the other house. If somebody's not sick, like Jamie said, just make sure they're practicing the same type of routines, the distancing, the hand washing, all that stuff.
All right, Jamie, thank you so much. Dr. Torres, thank you. Coming up next, the music stars stepping up to give us some free entertainment while we're all kind of cooped up inside. I'll tell you about it, but first, this is Today on NBC.
The champs put up the look for three.
Time's running out. Get to Nissan now for big savings on our entire lineup, like the award-winning Rogue and Altima. It's car buying season. Hurry to Nissan, official partner of the NCAA. Save $2,500 or get 0% financing for 60 months on the 2020 Nissan Rogue. Get to Nissan now.
Imagine if every day ended with a vacation.
A beautiful drive up to your own private piece of Texas, where you're surrounded by a state park and a national forest. Located north of the woodlands, home sites start at just $59.9. With an average elevation of 325 feet, high-speed internet, low taxes, and special veteran and easy bank financing, you can buy now and build later in the most peaceful community in Texas. Join us March 21st and 22nd for a new release of State Park lots.
During the Rooms to Go anniversary sale, change the way you sleep forever. Choose your perfect mattress set at Rooms to Go. King or queen from the best brands. And switch your foundation to this top quality adjustable base for free. Just touch the button and get comfortable. Reading, working, together or apart for a more refreshing night's sleep. So make the switch to an adjustable base for free when you buy a great mattress set at the Rooms to Go anniversary sale.
We decided to go with Bathfitter after doing a lot of research.
Yeah, we loved how they could install a new tub right over the old one without tearing our bathroom apart.
Yeah, what we didn't expect was to be blown away by the quality. And that's what happened. They showed up in the morning, and by the end of the day, we had this absolutely beautiful new bathtub. It was better than we could have even imagined.
And it's guaranteed for life.
I actually love our bathroom now.
Book your free in-home consultation today. Call or visit bathfitter.com.
We're back with something we could all use, a little lightness. And
Yes, we need it.
Start is here. Carson is not, Siri is expecting any day now. She's about to have a little baby girl, and Carson is just chilling at home with the family, staying healthy. This is exactly where he needs to be. So we're sending love to all the dailies. Okay, so here we're going to do it.
Let's get ready.
First up, Tom and Rita. After revealing last week they had both been diagnosed with coronavirus, things are really looking up for them. They've left the hospital. Now they're at home. They're under quarantine. But as they are on the mend, another Hollywood A-lister has revealed he has been diagnosed with coronavirus too. And pop star correspondent Natalie Morales has the latest.
Hanks and Rita Wilson have left this hospital on Australia's Gold Coast. NBC News confirming that the couple, still under quarantine, are now staying at a rented home in Australia. In a social media post last Wednesday, Hank said he and his wife, Rita Wilson, felt a bit tired, like we had colds and some body aches. Rita had some chills that came and went, slight fevers too. After testing positive for the coronavirus, the Hollywood A-listers posted, "I want to thank everyone here down under who are taking such good care of us and acknowledging the helpers." A nod to Mr. Rogers, whom Hanks recently played. Their son Chet's latest Instagram post.
Quick update on my folks. They're out of the hospital. They're still self-quarantined, obviously, but they're feeling a lot better. So that's a relief.
As two of the first public figures to face coronavirus are on the mend, another big screen star is now confronting the illness.
This morning, I got some test results back for coronavirus, and it came back positive.
British actor Idris Elba says he currently has no symptoms, but was tested after learning he was exposed to someone who tested positive.
I quarantined myself and got a test immediately.
Elba hasn't said where or when he believes he was exposed, but earlier this month he attended a charity event in London and posed for a photo with Canadian First Lady Sophie Trudeau, who has tested positive for COVID-19. Elba says his wife, Sabrina, next to him in the video he posted on Twitter, has not been tested, but is doing okay. The 47-year-old actor urging the public to take coronavirus seriously, but not to panic.
Now's the time for solidarity. Now's the time for thinking about each other.
Famous faces using their star power to raise awareness and provide some reassurance, too.
Stay positive and don't freak out.
For today, Natalie Morales, NBC News, Los Angeles.
And we wish Idris well. We've got some other pop star news to get to with so many people stuck at home. Some very talented singers and performers are taking to social media for some at-home concerts. Pink took to Instagram to share her rendition of Make You Feel My Love. When the rain is Sing it. Beautiful. Beautiful. David Foster and Catherine McPhee also gave their followers a little free concert. They are performing Hallelujah.
Beautiful.
With that, friends say, by the way, they're going to try to perform live every night at 5:30 Pacific. And Coldplay's Chris Martin went live with Facebook. He did like a little mini gig. And got beautiful 70 at-home concerts to come. John Legend is tweeting out that Martin's video, and he wrote this, I'll be doing one tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific. See you soon. And you know what's funny? I remember, I was just thinking about this. I interviewed a guy, and he was suffering through depression, and his psychologist said to him, I'll help you out here. Here's how we'll help fix this. Put something beautiful into the world.
Yes.
And he did it. And no matter what your beautiful thing is that you put out, whether it's music or something else, like that's a healer.
It is.
So whatever you got.
And we want you.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And here's something that's not related to the coronavirus at all, but it's music related. Remember a few weeks ago, we had Harry Styles right here on our plaza playing to one of our biggest crowds ever. Well, from big crowd, big stage to the Tiny Desk. Harry stopped by NPR to perform a Tiny Desk concert with the help of his touring band. I love just seeing everybody showing off their talents. They're so good. Okay, so we're all about with you today. Right. We are with you in this situation, and a lot of people have missed out on celebrations or milestones that they can't get back, and we can't fix that, but boy, we can shout out your name. And here's our first one we got. We want to say congratulations to the Platteville High School girls basketball team in Wisconsin. Guess what? They went undefeated this season. They were on their way to the championships, but the rest of the tournament had to be canceled. So we want to say to you girls, especially seniors, you are already champions, and we salute you.
We do. All right, Michelle in Slidell, Louisiana. She shared that her mama turned 96 over the weekend. Well, because her assisted living facility doesn't allow visitors, the family couldn't get together. Well, we want to say to Mama and to Michelle, we wish you the happiest 96th birthday. Slidell is a great place in Louisiana, and the people there are amazing. So,
and Mama, you are beautiful. Happy birthday. We really want you to keep sharing your pictures and videos. Use the hashtag with you today. Could be picture, could video, could be something you record, whatever it is, we'll find you and we'll put it on.
We certainly will. Coming up next in the third hour, we're going to check in with Craig and Al live. They're at their homes, but they're going to be joining us by Skype or something.
Yeah, some kind of technology that we're all figuring out together. We'll see in a few, but first let's get a check out your local news and weather.
More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
I wonder what my life would be like if my dad hadn't died.
Let's raise our glasses to Randall and Beth.
My name is Randall Pearson. I think I'm your son. This is Us, tonight on NBC.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, covering coronavirus with facts over fear.
How do we know who belongs in isolation? What should we be conscious of? What's being worked on today?
At a time of crisis, turn to the most trusted TV news anchor in America.
Ellen's Game of Games.
This is fun, isn't it?
All new tonight.
With laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, bump step, detect liner for your bed and tailgate. Because you never know when it's going to be a WeatherTech day. And to secure your phone, don't forget the cup phone. Order today at WeatherTech.com. Made right in America.
Kiss high electric bills goodbye with Frontier Utilities. It's the same electricity you have now, just for less. Why pay more for the same?
Call Frontier Utilities to make the switch. Frontier Utilities, electricity for your home and business. It's the rush of relaxation. Introducing the all-new Lincoln Corsair.
Britta Breezy B. Merwin, forecasting for you since 2007. KPRC Channel 2, your go-to weather team. This is a KPRC Channel 2 News update.
Good morning. Time right now is 8:58 on this Tuesday morning. I'm Tanaya Wright. In North Houston, a man is shot multiple times while meeting a woman from a dating app. The shots were fired during some sort of altercation with that woman at an apartment complex on Greens Parkway in Ella. Police say that another man walked into the apartment, shot the man, and then took off. We're told the victim is expected to survive.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Britta Merwin. A warm and muggy day with a few spotty showers.
I wonder what my life would be like if my dad hadn't died.
Let's raise our glasses to Randall and Beck.
My name is Randall Pearson. I think I'm your son. This is Us, tonight on NBC.
I love New Amsterdam. That's what makes leaving so hard. Hey, I got you. Hey, we're down here.
New Amsterdam, tonight on NBC.
Oh, can you throw in 2 years of the carefree scheduled maintenance, the turbocharged engine?
And smartphone integration.
Yeah, all comes standard.
Hurry in during the not-so-standard spring event. You can lease a new 2020 Tiguan. 0 down, 0 deposit, 0 first month payment, and 0 to inside. Practically just slide and drive.
One of the basic needs of any human being is to have a roof over their head and to feel that security and that protection and just that sense of home and well-being.
One of our main focuses with UT Physicians is community service. So this plays right into our goals and our commitment to the community and those that we serve.
Wonderful opportunity, and I think people are going to end the day feeling proud for what they've given back.
The KPRC Habitat Home, presented by our proud partners at UT Physicians. Get the KPRC app for free on all your devices.
Volkswagen's list of standard features goes on and on, but this event won't. Hurry in during the not-so-standard spring event. You can lease a new 2020 Tiguan. 0 down, 0 deposit, 0 first month payment, and 0 to inside. Practically just slide and drive.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to today. We're into our third hour now, and usually you'd be seeing Craig or Al or Chanel or Dylan, but we know that Craig and Al are at home right now out of an abundance of caution because remember, one of our colleagues who works on this hour of the program did test positive for COVID-19. So for a couple weeks, we can ask Al and Craig in a moment, they're going to just stay home, stick tight to home, make sure everybody's safe, and we're going to talk to them live in just a moment. But first, we want to get caught up on the headlines this morning. So we'll start here. The government's coronavirus task force has released sweeping guidelines for the next 15 days to try and slow the spread of coronavirus. They include limiting gatherings now to no more than 10 people.
Meantime, officials in Ohio have postponed today's primary there over fears of exposing voters and poll workers to the coronavirus. But in Florida, Arizona, and Illinois, the voting is still on.
As of this morning, there are more than 4,400 cases in the U.S., 88 deaths here.
All right, with all that being said, we should bring in the hosts of this program,
Yes.
Al and Craig, who again are at home. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, ladies.
Hi.
Good
So
morning.
we saw Al a little bit earlier, so we should check in with you, Craig.
Yeah, give us the 411. So what happened? What did they tell you?
I feel great. First of all, no symptoms, no signs. I talked to the company doctor yesterday, who assured me that my exposure to the staffer was limited. So I'm fine. The kids are fine, which is, of course, the most important thing. Lindsay's also doing just fine. So we're hunkered down. I will say this to both of you, and I've always appreciated teachers in this country. I have never appreciated teachers more than I do right now because we have been spending the better part of our days teaching our kids. In fact, Lindsay comes up with these, I think you can see it here. She comes up with these lesson plans every morning. And health, writing, math, technology, art, lunch, recess is my specialty. But Lindsay comes up with these plans, and I do my part, or at least try to do my part. So, but all is good here. All is good.
Good. How about you, Al? We've been seeing you all morning, so we know you're feeling good, but it must be strange to be kind of stuck at home. What are you doing? How are you guys keeping socially distant?
Well, we're doing the same thing. In fact, Deborah was on 2020 last night. She did a report, and we taped her stand-up. I taped it for her because out of an abundance of caution with her contact, Nick's contact, everybody here in the house, we basically kind of hunkered down. We went out yesterday for a walk, took Pepper out again, stayed away from people, but out in the fresh air, which doctors say. And just like with Craig, our doctor said, it's not so much. I mean, if you look at the New York State health guidelines, the CDC guidelines, we're fine, but we're just doing this just as a precaution because of our contact with our fellow staffer. But otherwise, we're doing fine. We got plenty of food. We're hanging out. So it's watched the movie last night.
I was going to say, Al, there are 24 hours in a day, and I think a lot of people who are kind of at home, either self-quarantining or being told to, are trying to figure out, like, how do I fill all of these hours? And you're pretty creative. So what are y'all doing over at your house?
Well, I did a workout. I did my Peloton. I did a little weight workout. Listen, and the good news is, listen, for us, we're very fortunate. We know that our job exists. Everything is happening. We checked in with some of our friends who are restaurateurs or work at restaurants, and it's a really hard time. So, look, whatever we're doing, whatever our gig is fine, and what we're doing is fine, because there's so many other people who have that uncertainty about what's going to happen next.
Oh, Craig's having that little moment. Remember the BBC video that went viral because the little baby came in? Oh, hello, Sibby. Good morning, Sibby.
Say hi. Say
hi,
good
Sibby.
morning, Miss Savannah. Good morning, Miss Soda. You can talk.
Hi.
You want to tell them what you've been doing?
Okay.
What about Dell?
Yeah.
So let's bring Dell in.
Yeah.
I bet it's kind of cool, though. It's got to be kind of cool to have Dad at home.
That's been actually the silver lining in all of this. I've been able to spend a lot of time with the family over the past few days. The kids aren't going to know what to do with themselves, though, when they have to go back to school and we have to go back to work. Oh, look at that. Oh, you don't want to be left out. You want to say hi to Mr. Roker?
Hi.
Mr. Savannah, you got to come over here so they can see in the script.
Hey, Dell. Hey, happy birthday, Dell. I heard you had a birthday on Sunday.
Happy birthday, babe.
Savannah said happy birthday. I would have said happy birthday. What do you say?
Thank you.
All right.
Do you want to tell them how you're passing the time?
Yeah.
You just ran up here, is that why?
Yeah, and I'm playing video games.
You're playing video games.
Playing video games. Okay, now the truth comes out.
Now we know.
He's showing us the school schedule. Okay, thank you, Dell, for getting to
Thank you.
Hey, Craig, ask Dell, who's the better teacher, mom or dad?
Hi.
Mr. Al wants to know who's the better teacher, mom or dad?
Dad.
Dad.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a little love.
Yes.
Mom and Dad.
Oh, good for you.
All right, guys.
He's
Dell can run your office. He's very diplomatic.
How are you guys?
Oh, we're great, hon.
Yeah.
We really are. We wish you all well. We can't wait for you guys to come back.
We miss your little
Hey,
view.
by the
I'd love
way-
to check in with you.
By the way, one of the highlights of yesterday, Hoda, Haley, and Hope FaceTimed me.
Yes,
And we had it just put a smile on all our faces.
Well, we love y'all. We really do.
Guys, thank you. Just ahead, we're going to have
Love
some
you
best
too.
of from the third hour. Okay, so an hour that you're going to really like. We put you in a great mood. Some of the most powerful stories we've had on this hour coming up next. We'll see you.
Quiet people, and cue Rachel Ray.
Hey friends, today we're whipping up some delicious recipes. We've got rustic duck stew and creamy seafood bisque. So, who's hungry? I said, who's hungry?
Pets love Rachel Ray Nutrish because it's made from kitchen-inspired recipes with real meat, poultry, or fish.
I love good eaters.
Rachel Ray Nutrish. Real recipes, real ingredients, real good.
I'm so sorry, Preston T. I need to follow my heart.
I know I'm not the smartest or the fastest.
I'm going with Frankie C.
Jake from State Farm?
Here's the deal. She's not the one for you. Sure, she's got that cool apartment, that brand new car, but she doesn't have good insurance. If she's not going to protect all her stuff with State Farm, how's she going to protect her heart? You want the real deal? Like a good neighbor? State Farm is there.
Challenge what soft can be. Nivea essentially enriched body lotion with nourishing serum deeply nourishes skin because soft can be powerful, just like you. Nivea. Try new Nivea body wash with nourishing serum.
Brushing only reaches 25% of your mouth. Listerine cleans virtually 100%, helping to prevent gum disease and bad breath. Never settle for 25%. Always go for 100. Bring out the bold.
Elena, someone burned down your house with you inside. Do you know anyone that would do this?
You ask this woman to come work in our house? You don't even know her.
Sometimes you have to scorch everything to start over.
Are you just gonna pretend nothing happened?
We all have parts that scare us. Mornings were made for better things than rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis. When considering another treatment, ask about Xeljanz XR, a once-daily pill for adults with moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis or active psoriatic arthritis for whom methotrexate did not work well enough. It can reduce pain, swelling, and significantly improve physical function. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections like TB. Don't start Xeljanz if you have an infection. Taking a higher than recommended dose of Xeljanz for RA can increase risk of death. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, cancers, including lymphoma, and blood clots have happened, as have tears in the stomach or intestines, serious allergic reactions, and changes in lab results. Tell your doctor if you've been somewhere fungal infections are common, or if you've had TB, hepatitis B or C, or are prone to infections. Don't let another morning go by without asking your doctor about Xeljanz XR. Ellen's Game of Games.
This is fun, isn't it?
All new tonight.
How do you tell the story of a family? Through everyday moments and the people who love you when things fall apart.
If I died, there'd be this group of guys to help the kids. Council of Dads.
Well, you gave it a name. Do you have jerseys in a secret hatchet?
We grab the people we love and we hold on for dear life.
But 5 kids, and they each have needs. And we can help you.
We can do this. We're a family.
Council of Dads, after the finale of This Is Us on NBC.
Welcome back. This morning, we're going to meet a school principal who is honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Principal Mari Frieslieben says she takes time every day to reflect on the sacrifices Dr. King made as she works to help students in one of Minnesota's most vulnerable school districts.
Her unflinching vow to love them first is now the inspiration of a documentary produced by our NBC Minneapolis affiliate, KARE 11, winner of the 2020 Alfred I. DuPont Columbia Journalism Award. It's phenomenal. Take a look.
A lot of students still like to call this place home, and I am one of them.
These are the students of Lucy Laney Elementary School in North Minneapolis.
Back to school.
It's located in one of Minnesota's low-income neighborhoods, a state known for having one of the largest achievement gaps between Black and white children in the United States.
We are trying to prove people wrong.
For almost 20 years, Lucy Laney has been listed at the bottom of the state's underperforming schools.
We're not going anywhere until we get off this stupid list.
Former principal Mari Frieslieben was determined to change that.
Happy first day of school, everybody. Did you miss me?
For 7 years, Frieslieben led the school by educating students through a simple idea: love them first.
Anytime anybody sees a child that looks forlorn, lost, scoop them up. Ask questions later, but love them first.
Her inspiring words are now the title of an award-winning documentary called Love Them First, Lessons from Lucy Laney Elementary.
I will be just like you.
You do? wish I would be just like you.
It chronicles the lives of the school's staff and students throughout the course of a year as they work to improve. And despite the odds stacked against them, Lucy Laney has seen changes under the principal's leadership who never gave up.
I choose hope. I choose to believe. I choose to. And even if I'm proven wrong, I will go down believing.
Principal Frieslavin is here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I want to go right to the numbers to give people some perspective here. Under your leadership, and I know you're at the high school now, but suspensions at the school were down. In 2016, the school saw 51 suspensions. So far this year, it's down to 4. 51 to 4. The school also saw 4 years of growth on the state's standardized test. So what do you say to people? First of all, they're still on the underperforming list. Why is that?
Well, there's one thing people don't understand about lists and data is that the way that the legislation is written is that there will always be an underperforming list. Okay, so it's the lowest performing 5%. So even if we move off, somebody else is going to move on.
Gotcha.
And if everybody moves up, as long as everybody moves up at the same level,
they're still.
We had a chance to talk in the green room, and you were saying when you saw everything in one documentary, because originally it was supposed to be little news stories, but they said, wow, we have to do this. You said you were able to look at it and said, although we're still on the list, we have accomplished so much.
Absolutely. I don't know that you have a chance to stop and pause very often when you're going so quickly. And even when Ben and Lindsay, who were the reporters that came in, when they said, oh, you know, we just want to spend the year and we kind of want to capture these little moments and these little nuggets, like there's something so unique happening here. We're like, okay, all right, sure. Unprecedented now, I've heard, to give that level of access and allow that level of intimacy. But for us at the moment, we thought, you know, we don't have anything to hide, and public education, especially in urban America, is so misunderstood. But I didn't want to watch any of it because right around the middle of the year, they were like, we have a movie here. And I was like, all right, okay, go ahead, make a movie. And they said, do you want to see it? Do you want to see it? No. And so I didn't see it until the premiere. So I saw it when everyone else saw it. And I sat there and I was like, wow.
You started at the local high school at the start of this school year, as I understand it.
Yes.
How hard of a decision was it to leave?
It was bittersweet. I bawled my eyeballs out when I had to drive away from Lucy Laney. When I cleared my office out, I'm still so deeply connected, but I'm at our Pathway High School, which means I have a lot of my old kids. They're way bigger now. And like I was telling you guys before the break, I can't grab them as easy. I mean, never grab children. Okay, explain that part out. But they're still there, and the bond is still amazingly tight.
How does one decide to lead with love? Like, it seems like a simple concept, love them first, but it's not for a lot of principals and a lot of teachers. Like, how did you get there?
So I didn't like the title of the film at first. Like, they told me it was going to be called Love Them First, and I was like, ew, I don't like that. No. And they were like, Mari, you say that. Like, you say it. Like, and I was like, I say that? Really? Me? And I think the reason why I didn't like that at first was I didn't want people to misunderstand the type of love that I'm talking about, like some sort of ushy-gushy love, like, oh, we're just all gonna hold hands and love each other. I'm talking about like that hard love, like that real love, right? Like what I will do for you, what I will do for mine. Like I will go all the way for mine. I'm gonna hold you to a high standard. I'm gonna hold you to high expectations. I'm gonna hold myself to the same. And that's the kind of love. Like I'm gonna hold you close and grab you, and I'm gonna fight with you, and I'm gonna fight for you.
It was so incredible. Congratulations. I mean, just watching you was so inspiring.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, the CARE 11 documentary is called Love Them First, Lessons Learned from Lucy Laney Elementary. We posted a link to it on our website. Go to thirdhourtoday.com.
I've always focused on my career, but when we found out our son had autism, his future became my focus. Lavender baths always calmed him, so we turned bath time into a business. And building it with my son has been my dream job. At Northwestern Mutual, our version of financial planning helps you live your dreams today. Find a Northwestern Mutual advisor at nm.com.
That's all coffee, right?
sometimes washed up.
L'Oreal Age Perfect Rosy Tone Moisturizer. Increases cell renewal. Boosts skin's rosy tone instantly. Age Perfect Rosy Tone from L'Oreal Paris.
And we still was it.
Cheerios. Do I look like a child to you?
Honey Nut Cheerios are heart healthy and can help lower cholesterol. That's why we introduced heart shapes. Get it? Did you just
No.
I'm pretty sure I heard a
New Crest Proactive Defense. You're doing more to keep your body healthy for the future. Shouldn't your toothpaste do the same for your mouth? Now with Crest Proactive Defense, future-proof your whole mouth. Its active defense technology neutralizes bacteria to shield against potential issues. Crest.
You'd rather dog sit cupcake than clean the toilet? Oh, come on! With scrubbing bubbles, cleaning doesn't have to stink. The foaming bubbles make your toilet super fresh. It's cleaning reinvented.
SC Johnson.
Ordinary tissues burn when Theo blows. So Dad bought Puffs Plus Lotion and rescued his nose. Puffs have more lotion and soothing softness to relieve. A nose in need deserves Puffs indeed.
Hershey's, the original cookies and cream.
Johnson & Johnson is a baby company. But we're also a company that controls HIV, fights cancer, repairs shattered bones, relieves depression, restores heart rhythms, helps you back from strokes, and keeps you healthy your whole life. From the day you're born, we never stop taking care of you.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. Introducing the Capital One Walmart Rewards Card. Earn unlimited 5% back on everything you buy at Walmart online.
No. We're gonna need a mop and bleach.
Including things for your new puppy.
What's in your wallet?
Cats will do anything for the irresistible taste of Temptations treats.
What are you doing?
Temptations, all it takes is a shake.
Mr. Reddington, so pleased you made it.
What happens next doesn't end the way you think it's going to.
It's good to be back.
As one door closes,
We just gotta go back to being coworkers.
another busts wide open.
I have a superpower, okay?
I'm sorry, what?
Philly's Extraordinary Playlist, Sunday on NBC.
Welcome back. This morning, we're going to meet a woman who found strength after an unthinkable loss.
Her world came crashing down when her son, Senior Airman Bryce Kenneth Powers, was killed in an accident. And then she had an idea to help overcome her grief, and she ran with it. It's a procession of honor. Trucks carrying precious cargo flanked by dozens of police cars.
They bring them to the national cemeteries and to our veterans' graves. Every year, every cemetery has a ceremony. They're just taking a few minutes to let their families know that they're not forgotten.
Kathy Powers knows that feeling all too well. In 2012, her son Bryce, an Air Force specialist, died while serving.
We woke up to the phone ringing. It's the Air Force telling us that Bryce had been in an accident right off base, and he was on a ventilator in a coma and not expected to live through the night. And he died with us holding his hands. We were there when he took his last breath.
Grieving the loss of her son, Kathy turned to food for comfort.
And I would just sort of lay around, felt sorry for myself. I ate, and I continued to gain weight. That was my life.
Kathy's weight grew to nearly 300 pounds.
After losing Bryce, I honestly didn't care.
That all changed in 2017 when she discovered Wreaths Across America, an organization dedicated to laying wreaths on the tombs of American soldiers, including her sons.
I thought, wow, Arlington, that's so nice that they decorate for Christmas. And I found out that they were not Christmas decorations.
Inspired, Kathy wanted to help and made a plan to run across America to raise awareness.
I ran in all 50 states and Puerto Rico and the Navajo Nation. I wasn't a runner. But now look what's happened. That's a mama heart right there.
It's a mama heart. Love that. And we are joined now by Kathy Powers. Good morning to you. Good morning. You know, our producers were saying, I know they've been talking with you. This has been quite a process. I think everybody grieves differently. Talk about this process for you and how it's been.
Yes, well, it's been a slow process because he passed away in 2013. And basically in our home, I became the grief police. After he died, I wanted to go visit him at Arlington National Cemetery, and my husband and daughter didn't want to just keep leaving North Carolina to keep going back to the cemetery. And I took that as, you know, you're being a bad dad, you're being a bad sister, and I was wrong. You know, I learned everybody grieves differently, and I pretty much thought that honestly that life was wrecked. Losing Bryce, I love him so much. I'm that mom that always lived through my kids and their accomplishments, and just losing him was such a jar that I just pretty much turned to food and just thought life was pretty much going to be wrecked.
So what was your moment of impact? Because it's out of order losing a child. And
Yes.
for so many people watching, I know you're here to try to help other people going through it. So what was that moment that you said that really shifted for you?
Yeah, one day it was actually, I was at, I went on an escort with Wreaths Across America to go from Maine to Arlington to deliver these wreaths. I joined because I wanted to help decorate their graves. And when I was there, I overheard Karen Worcester, the executive founder's wife. She said, "We are not here decorating graves. We are here to say their names and to honor and to remember and to teach." And I was thinking, my gosh, I'm glad nobody asked me why I was here. It made such an impact on me. And at the end of the week, when they laid those wreaths, they said their names. They said Bryce Kenneth Powers out loud. And something in my mama heart started to think, wow, you know, he's not going to be forgotten. I don't have to spend the rest of my life finding a way to manipulate people to remember him. I just remember, you know, that was a huge thing for me. Soon after, I decided Bryce lost his life, and now I'm here wasting my own life.
Right.
And so that right there is when I changed.
So tell us then about this running. You've run, I was looking at this, the 10K, you turned that into a half marathon.
Yes.
And tell me, how did that translate to running across all 50 states?
Oh, yeah. Well, you'll laugh. The Air Force ran for my son for 4 years in a row in his honor, in honor of our fallen. I went each year to Gatlinburg to go and be a spectator to watch them. After I started getting healthy, I called them and said, "Do you think it would be okay if maybe I become a participant instead of a spectator?" And they said, "Sure." And I said, "You know, are there any cutoffs for time?" And they said, "Even if you're done at midnight, we will be waiting for you." So they ran longer distances, and I sat and I ran the half marathon. I walked most of it. Well, at the end of it, they called my name up on the stage and said I won first place.
First place?
Yes. And
that was great.
I remember my husband calling me saying, "How did you do?" And I said, "I took first." And he was like, "Are you kidding? You know, are you kidding?" Well, for 3 months, I thought that I just was some super gifted runner. I found out later I was the only one in my age group.
She put it out. I feel saying you win. Take it.
When I started bragging, I mean, for the first time in my life, thought, oh my gosh, like somebody playing the piano the first time and playing Mozart.
Yeah.
I thought, I think I'm a gifted runner.
Well, I heard you were running and you run in your son's shorts, so he's running with you. He's with you.
Yes.
And I just wanted to thank you for coming in and sharing.
Thank you
so much
Yes,
for being
I
here, being
ran
so
in his
brave.
shorts. I ran even all the way from the beginning to the end, ending at the Arlington National Cemetery.
You're incredible, and you look incredible. And she bought this dress yesterday in New York, 4 sizes smaller than she thought. She was like,
I know.
150 pounds. That's
Good
great
stuff.
for
Take
her
it right
son.
back. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're incredible.
The choices that people make in their diets while they're healthy are actually impacting their enamel in a negative way. When you drink or eat something that's acidic, it sucks the minerals out of the tooth surface. Things like thinning and yellowing can happen as a result of that. Pronamel is formulated to help deliver those minerals back to the tooth surface to reharden and re-strengthen it. With Pronamel, you're protecting your teeth from the things that you're probably going to encounter in your diet.
Hey, allergy muddlers. Do your sneezes turn heads? Try Zyrtec. It starts working hard at hour 1 and works twice as hard when you take it again the next day. Zyrtec, muddle no more.
And here we have another burst pipe in Denmark. If you look close...
Jamie, are there any interesting photos from your trip?
Ouch. Okay. Boring. You don't need to see that. Oh, here we go. Can you believe my client Stieg had never heard of a home and auto bundle or the renter's good bundle?
Wait, you're a lawyer?
Only licensed in Stockholm.
What is happening?
Anyway, game show, kumite, Cinderella story.
You know karate?
No, Ellen. I practice Muay Thai. Completely different skill set.
When you come home and you've had a hard day at work and you walk in the door and she just looks at you like you are sunshine, it's just, there's no other feeling like that. Isn't that right, BB? BB's family, so I feed her Blue.
I used to be a little cranky. Dealing with our finances really haunted me. Thankfully, I've got QuickBooks, and a live bookkeeper is helping customize it for our business.
You're all set up.
Great.
Get set up right with a live bookkeeper with Intuit QuickBooks.
Never run dry. A killer attitude, good moves, or hydration. Neutrogena Hydro Boost, the #1 hyaluronic acid moisturizer, delivers 2 times the hydration for supple, bouncy skin. Neutrogena.
At Walgreens, we understand the speed of life never slows down. That's why we're helping you get the care and attention you deserve even faster. That's our promise. Now, you can skip the line with Walgreens Express. Get in and out quickly with 24-hour locations. Or have your prescriptions delivered. Whenever you need us, we're always just minutes away. Walgreens.
So pleased you made it from the breakfast to our event. It's good to be back. Friday. This is a KPRC Channel 2 News update.
Good morning. Coming up on 9:30 now on this Tuesday morning. I'm Tanaya Wright. Metro making some changes starting this week due to coronavirus. More buses are going to be put into service on the heavily traveled routes in order to lessen the crowding. Fewer seats will be available on buses, light rail, and even Metro Lift. Metro says these changes could result in delays on certain routes. And Sephora also closing stores until at least April 3rd. The makeup company says it's going to still take orders through its website and the app. It has waived standard shipping fees through April. Purchases that were made in store in the last 30 days can be returned within 30.
Our free checking account is not just about free, it's about freedom. Freedom to save without worrying about a monthly service charge, to access your money whenever and wherever you want. Opportunities await for those who choose freedom. BBVA, creating opportunities.
This is social distancing. We have no studio audience.
There's no cure for it. There's not an antibiotic for it. You shouldn't have taken a global pandemic to tell people that they need to wash their hands.
New Dr. Phil. Today at 3 on Channel 2.
Is it time for your routine teeth cleaning? Should you go to the dentist or cancel? Is it safe? The new recommendations.
And working from home, not as easy as it sounds. How to tackle the biggest challenges Wednesday morning.
Welcome back to the third hour today. Susan Pierce Thompson went from high school dropout to PhD, but that's only a small part of her story.
It's a great story. She's a neuroscientist who's created a plan to help people struggling with food addiction.
But it's more than science. Susan relies on some hard lessons that she learned in her own life.
I had a sweet tooth from my earliest memory.
Susan Pierce Thompson says food was an obsession for her growing up.
By the age of 11, I weighed more than I weigh now. Then by the age of 14, I was super concerned about my weight. And I was already dieting pretty seriously by then.
She says her issues with food led to other problems with addiction at an early age.
At the age of 14, I started doing drugs, both sort of out of teenage experimentation and also as a means to control my weight.
and the drugs ended up spiraling out of control.
Susan says by the age of 20, she knew she had to turn things around. She got help from a 12-step program.
I got clean and sober, and I haven't had a drink or a drug since then.
But over the years, Susan found herself still struggling to keep her weight down.
My pain around my eating was way worse than the actual weight that I got up to. I was dying inside. It was so painful, obsessing about what I'd eaten or not eaten, and how dysfunctional and disordered my relationship with food was.
Susan used the lessons she learned about her own addictive behavior.
I knew what addiction felt like, and I knew that I was hopelessly addicted to these foods that I was eating.
She studied cognitive science, earned her PhD, and taught in colleges. And with her passion and knowledge, she followed a set of food rules she lives by to this day.
No sugar, no flour, eating only meals, never grazing or snacking, and putting my food on a digital food scale so I know that I'm eating the right amount of food.
In an effort to help others in 2014, Susan created a diet plan called Bright Line Eating. She runs a website and has written 2 best-selling books.
Dr. Cornelia said,
a wife and mother of 3, Susan now spends her days spreading her message, which has given her a strong sense of purpose.
This is a mission unlike any I've ever experienced. I am clear this is why I'm supposed to be here on Earth, is to do this now and help people in this way.
Well, Susan Pierce Thompson joins us this morning. She's the author of the official Bright Line Eating Cookbook. Good morning to you. And it's about so much more than eating. So happily married, 3 kids, best-selling author. And 25 years ago, you weren't just a food addict. At one point, you were a drug addict as well.
I was.
Is there a point that you can recall that was just the lowest of the low where you thought it gets no worse than this?
Oh, yeah. August 9th, 1994. I was sitting in a crack house with a shaved head and a blonde wig on my head. And I was hopelessly addicted to crack cocaine. And my universe cracked open. And a voice said, if you don't get out of here right now, this is all you're ever going to be. And I grabbed my jacket and I walked out the door. And I haven't had a drink or a drug since that day.
That was it?
Wow. That was it, 25 years ago.
Talk about those steps of recovery, because then ultimately, did you replace then that addiction with food?
Oh, yeah. I got that so fast. And I knew it would happen. At first, I didn't care because I was just grateful to be out of the hell that I was in. And then I cared.
Wow.
I cared a lot.
And so what was the first step to recovery?
From food?
From food.
From food. I tried and tried and tried and tried. And I think that's where my experience ultimately led me to adopt the 4 bright lines is I tried everything without them, right? Well, what if I just give up sugar but not flour? What if I give up white flour but not brown flour? What if I give up sugar but not artificial sweeteners? And I tried.
You sound like a lot of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure,
right?
sure.
And ultimately, I just learned it's easier to not do any of it.
No shade. Of the things you mentioned, I find that people who can give up sugar, that's a hard sacrifice. How do you do it? What's your typical day look like in terms of your meals?
Oh, oatmeal and nuts and blueberries for breakfast, and hummus and veggies and olives and an apple for lunch, and big salad chicken or grilled vegetables or something for dinner. It's not that bad, actually.
You're married and you've got 3 kids.
Yeah.
Do they all follow the same dietary
They do
rules?
not.
I just was curious. I was wondering.
That's a good question.
Bright lines, I think, are for someone who chooses it, like who knows that it's what they need to do.
They're adorable.
Yeah.
So how do you make that work? Because and a lot of people, if you're on one thing and your family isn't, how do you bridge that?
I cook one dinner, and it's some kind of protein, a lot of vegetables, big salad, and then a big pot of starch for the kids. I cook rice, I cook pasta, I cook, there's bread and butter on the table.
Yeah.
So they don't have to eat the way I eat, but I cook one meal. I just add a little more for them.
What is the takeaway? I was looking at a picture of you when you were heavier. Beautiful picture. There's so many people who can relate to your story, but a lot of people would say, you know what? Sugar, what are the 4 lines?
Sugar, flour, meals, and quantities.
And you literally weigh your food.
I do.
Do that?
I do. It's easier. People actually are pretty routinized with their food. They just don't realize it. And I just went through a period of time where I switched my habits over, and now I just do it different. And it's automatic.
Doing your research, you found a correlation between food addiction and drug addiction.
Yeah, it's the same part of the brain. It's the nucleus accumbens, the addictive center of the brain. The dopamine receptors thin out. They get less numerous, less responsive. And we have PET scans of like heroin addict, cocaine addict, food addict. And it's the same pattern in the brain. It's the same thing.
Wow.
Well, I just think it's remarkable what you've done and giving a lot of hope to a lot of folks.
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Susan, thank you. And your husband's over there as well. Roka pointed out that there's a striking resemblance to Bruce Willis. He may become difficult to live with. Thank you. Susan Pierce Thompson. Are we going to get that shot? We're going to show Bruce Willis. There's Bruce Willis. There's Bruce Willis.
No, it's Bruce Willis inside the vent during Die Hard.
That always goes back to Die Hard. We'll be right back.
The network has to be prepared to absorb whatever is going to come its way.
We're always preparing.
Make sure that the network is working all the time.
We are constantly looking at it. We're constantly monitoring. Take that responsibility very seriously.
The most rewarding thing about the work we do is whenever we see a customer able to communicate back to their loved ones.
That is why we do what we do.
We're relentlessly committed to the network. So in times like this, America can stay connected to work, school, and most importantly, to each other.
Only Tylenol rapid release gels have laser drilled holes. They release medicine fast for fast pain relief. Tylenol.
What if we attack the enemy with a hail of fire and brimstone?
Or we could do a hail of coupons.
I can assure you, Gina, the enemy does not fear coupons.
Well, there are no bad ideas.
Except coupons. Possibly the best product in the world.
Sensational lip color takes on a new feeling. New color Sensational the creams from Maybelline, New York. Pure color pigments infused with shea butter. Color so crisp, lips so smooth. New color Sensational the creams, only from Maybelline, New York.
Liberty Mutual customizes.
Wait, am I in one of those Liberty Mutual commercials where they stand in front of the Statue of Liberty and talk about how Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need?
Yes.
Huh. What happens in this one?
Seagulls.
Oh, I like it. How are you doing?
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. You work hard for your money. Stretch days for it. Juggled life for it. Took charge for it. So care for it. Look after it. Invest with the expertise of JP Morgan, either with an advisor or online through Chase. After all, it's yours. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Good morning.
More treatment.
We're going to try something different today.
Dogs bring out the good in us. Pedigree brings out the good in them.
You deserve more. Find more smooth with Vanity Fair's Beauty Back Collection. Get more sizes, more styles, more colors. Beauty Back smooths your back for a flawless look under any outfit. The Beauty Back Collection has the smoothing bra just for you. How could you ever ask for more? The Beauty Back Collection by Vanity Fair. Fairlife is the milk that gives you more. It's ultra filtered for 50% more protein and 50% less sugar. Bring more to the table with Fairlife ultra filtered milk.
How do you get skin happy 24/7? Aveeno. With prebiotic oat, it hydrates and softens skin, so it looks like this, and you feel like this. Aveeno Daily Moisturizer. Get skin healthy.
How can we help? The system is broken.
We'll be the hospital that sides with their patients, no matter the price.
New Amsterdam, tonight on NBC. When a show touches fans this much, it's no wonder that Chicago PD never disappoints. It's my job now, Bill. Chicago PD, Wednesday on NBC. Welcome back to the third hour today. Our next guest had a successful career, a growing family, but he says he was also living with a dark secret. For years, he struggled with opioid addiction.
Well, now he's sharing the lessons he's learned to break the stigma that still surrounds addiction and offer hope to others facing their own battle.
This has been my life. It's been
very normal in some respects and rather extraordinary in others.
For over 20 years, Dan Paris has rubbed shoulders with A-list celebrities like Bradley Cooper and Ryan Reynolds, as well as fashion icons like Tom Ford and Donatella Versace.
I got hired at Women's Wear Daily in the early 90s. I was ultimately asked to go to Paris to become the European editor for W Magazine before being asked to come back and take the job as editor-in-chief of Details Magazine.
But he didn't always love his moments in the spotlight. Unknown to everyone around him, Dan was addicted to opioids after injuring his back in 1996.
I took them as prescribed initially. Eventually, it got very bad. It was like lighting a fuse on a stick of dynamite. I was taking upwards of 60 pills a day.
In 2007, Dan's then wife discovered his addiction and told him to leave.
I went to my mom's house in Baltimore. I was there for 2 weeks. I attended my first 12-step meeting down there. I left Baltimore clean and sober and came back to New York and picked up a prescription and took a handful of pills.
After waking up from his relapse, Dan wanted a permanent change.
I just sat up and said, okay, enough. You're about to be a father. You just spent 2 weeks detoxing. I flushed those pills down the toilet. This was October of 2007, and I've been sober since.
Beautiful family. Dan Paris shows his story in As Needed for Pain, a memoir of addiction. And he's with us this morning. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Let's back up a little bit and go back to when you were first prescribed pain medication. That's how this all started, after an interesting injury.
Yes, I was foolishly, I did a cartwheel to try to impress a woman.
Wow.
I'm not terribly proud of that, but I injured my back.
Wow.
And this is a pretty common thing. Maybe not the cartwheel to impress the woman, but people being prescribed these medications for injuries.
At what point did you realize? I mean, if you're taking it for pain, that's how most people get started. When did you realize that maybe you had a problem, or did you?
I did. I think after a few weeks, when the pain went away, but I still was interested in taking the pills. And not only that, if they were prescribed for 2 every 4 hours, I started to take 3 or 4. And then ultimately, it was like lighting a fuse on a stick of dynamite. It really was.
Then 2007 rolls around, and your wife, who, by the way, is an actor, she confronts you.
Right. So my wife at the time was pregnant with our oldest child. I had been lying to her, to everyone around me, to myself for a very long time. She discovered the addiction, and in the end, ultimately saved my life.
What's your advice to folks who are watching right now, who feel that maybe there's someone in their family, maybe there's a loved one who's struggling with addiction, but they don't know how to address it?
I think it's really important to ask questions. Don't ignore. If you have suspicions, ask. I would say not to ask in an aggressive way, not to ask in an overly accusatory way, but ask. Don't sit silent. Trust your gut.
Was it difficult to be so open and honest? Now, you've put everything out there. Some stories embarrassing, some stories difficult. Why share?
I think it's really important to try to destigmatize this addiction. Opioid addiction is not a moral failing. It's really not. It's part of the human condition. It's a true, genuine affliction. And I think if I can add my voice to the chorus of others and be a face, for this, then I'm happy to do it. I think it's important for people to understand that there's a way out.
But everybody finds that way out, in a sense, in a different way.
That's right.
I'm guessing. What's the one thing that you think you've learned that might help folks, and not in a preachy way, but do what you think worked for you and might work for others?
I think it's important to ask for help. I was terrified to ask for help. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was worried about the stigma. When as you guys pointed out, it took someone to really sort of make me very aware of how bad I had gotten. But then once you're on the path to recovery, reach out for help, and because help is there. It really is.
Thank you.
Yeah, something
Thank
for
you,
you
guys.
and your beautiful kids.
Thank
A
you,
lot to be here for.
Thank you.
All right. Well, As Needed for Pain, a memoir of addiction, is out next week. We'll be right back.
That's good.
Thank you.
This is Ava. These are Ava's shoulders. They square off, hold firm, bear it all. This is her physical therapist, covered by Blue Cross Blue Shield. These are Ava's shoulders, now stronger than ever. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Ava. And with plans that fit every budget, imagine what we can do for you. This is the benefit of Blue.
Big thing I recently learned as a parent, baby skin is absorbent. Her skin can actually soak up wetness her diaper doesn't. That's gross. That's why I use Pampers.
Pampers absorbs quickly to trap and lock wetness away, keeping your baby's skin drier and healthier. For a diaper that stays dry, count on Pampers. The health of your baby's skin starts with the Pampers they're in.
You'd rather dog sit Cupcake than clean the toilet? Oh, come on! With scrubbing bubbles, cleaning doesn't have to stink. The foaming bubbles make your toilet super fresh. It's cleaning reinvented.
S.C. Johnson.
When I started Cobra Kai, the lack of control over my business made me a little intense. But now QuickBooks helps me get paid, manage cash flow, and run payroll. And now I'm back on top with Koala Kai.
Save over 40 hours a month with Intuit QuickBooks.
Who are the women who fought for you?
Who stood up? Who stood strong?
Who demanded to be seen, to be heard, to be counted? Learning about their courage and grit inspires us to pass it on to the women who are next. Find your family's connection to this moment in history at Ancestry.
In 1 week, a lot will happen in your life. Wrinkles just won't. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair's fastest retinol formula works so fast. It takes only 1 week to reveal younger looking skin, making wrinkles look so last week. Rapid Wrinkle Repair. Pair with retinol oil for 2 times the wrinkle fighting power. Neutrogena.
Mom, what can we do after this?
Want to go on tour?
Sick. A tour sounds good.
Dan Plan Collect with Big G cereals and YoPlay yogurt. Trolls World Tour, only in theaters, rated PG.
No one tells you what to expect when you're expecting a new pet. Okay, Benny, we need to get you a crate, training treats, potty pads. But with Chewy's low prices, you'll find amazing deals on everything you need for your pets. Oh, even those toys? You can save on toys, food, treats, even your pet's prescriptions. What about leashes, a bowl, his ID tag? You can get it all at a great price. Even the shipping is free. So what are you waiting for? Start saving at Chewy today.
Save 30% on your first order at Chewy.
When your daycare closes, Superstore has you covered.
Behold, the baby dome.
Then, the Brooklyn Nine-Nine Bachelor Party of the Century.
Are you sure this is culturally okay for me?
We're gonna find out.
All right. NBC Comedy Thursday.
Thursday, the moment has arrived. Will and Grace reveals the gender of. Then Indebted takes Mama's Boy to a whole new level.
You know, I took her to my prom. My girlfriend was pissed.
NBC Comedy Thursday. Sunday, catch an all-new Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist on NBC.
And welcome back. Natalie, you've got a great story this morning about sisterhood.
That's right. And nestled right on the iconic Melrose Place in West Hollywood, California, there's a club called Albright. Now, there's a neon sign as you walk in that reads, Sisterhood Works. And it is a feeling that the founders hope resonates in each of their locations.
We are motivated to build a business that helps to bring together women across the world to help them to build up their network skills and confidence to supercharge their careers.
Debbie Wasco is one half of the founding team behind Albright, a member
Club that is aiming to celebrate and connect women in the workplace.
Last year, just over 2% of all capital allocated went to back a female founder. 7% partners of venture capital funds are women. Only 2% are investing consistently day to day. And it felt to us that it needs to change.
Launched in 2017 and named after former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright.
Just remember, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other.
Debbie and co-founder of former Hearst Publishing CEO Anna Jones now have 3 locations, 2 in London and this West Hollywood space, which opened last fall. What is different about this space?
Is here to showcase female talent. So all of the art on the walls is by female artists. The wine behind the bar is produced by vineyards run by women. We program within the building every day. Events are there to connect and uplift women.
Debbie, a serial entrepreneur, saw a need for this type of club after selling her last company in 2017.
I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. Discussing business around the table was very normal, but the women in my family were entrepreneurs. And I think unconsciously for women, often you have to see it to be it. And part of the driver behind All Right, behind owning these buildings, behind developing what we're developing online, is to showcase female faces talking about how to do it.
In addition to the spaces, Albright offers a free digital community.
It's not about your need, it's about your value.
And an opportunity for female founders looking to raise capital.
We are delighted to be back with the first pitch day of 2020.
A place to pitch their business to potential investors.
My name is Larissa Posner, and I'm the founder and CEO of StyleScan.
And receive feedback from a panel.
Women. I have been tracking you guys and been very impressed.
We heard today about the funding gap. Explain how intimidating that is for a woman walking into a room with what is a great business idea to a room full of men and having to present that idea.
Well, that was the story of my life, really, for 20 years. We think it's really important to have credible women pitching to credible investors so that they will get backed, because our role is to show.
Pitch days are held monthly in each location. What is the importance of building a place like this in terms of creating a sisterhood among women who are like-minded?
So if we can create organized serendipity in our buildings and online, where women can meet other women that they can share with, that they can take the mask off with, that is so valuable. You know, it's just such a kick to see women building sisterhoods with women that they would otherwise not have met.
I was there for the pitch day. It was so inspiring, all the brilliant ideas and businesses these women were creating. Now, the clubs do have an annual membership fee. It works to about $200 a month here in the States. They are expanding, though, but anybody has access to their academy online. It is free, so if you want to go, and also pitch days, you can show up and pitch your ideas. Great idea, pitch day.
And, and if you join, like, say, one, do you have access to all of
Yeah, it's
them?
like a passport system. So once you're in the sisterhood, as they say, and men are very much welcome as well. They say we need the men to be in the room to hear our conversations. So there were men there for the pitch day as well, wanting to invest in the businesses that the women were pitching. New entrepreneurs. Yeah, great. It's amazing.
No, thanks. It's always good. Great having you here.
Thanks for having me up there for the show.
Hey, once again, one plug for your shop.
Yes, today.com/shop with Taraji P. Henson. Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, covering coronavirus with facts over fear.
How do we know who belongs in isolation? What should we be conscious of? What's being worked on today?
At a time of crisis, turn to the most trusted TV news anchor in America.
Need a new AC system? Get the 10-10-10 plan at Abacus. You get 10 years parts, 10 years labor warranties, and up to 10-year financing on new Lennox air conditioning systems. The 10-10-10 plan only at Abacus. You can count on us.
We are a AAA family. I was introduced through my family. My husband was introduced through his family. We had the same insurance company for a long time, and we were fed up with paying a lot of money. We decided to go check out AAA insurance. We were shocked of how much we would save.
Switch to AAA insurance today, and you can save an average of $537 on auto insurance. Compare that to State Farm, Geico, even Allstate. Call now for your free auto insurance quote to find out how much you could save.
By switching to AAA insurance and bundling our insurance policies, we're able to save over $450. The savings that we get through AAA insurance enables us to do more of what we love. We're gassing our car for driving up north to go camp. We do s'mores. You can't lose with s'mores. Yeah.
To find out how much you could save by switching to AAA insurance, call 877-235-1451 for your free auto insurance quote today. AAA Insurance, helping you save more.
Megan, come in here, please.
Yes, what's going on?
We saw the video that you made at Kelly's house.
What? We were dancing. It was fun.
Kelly's family has cable internet.
The video was in SD.
Those upload speeds, it's not who you are.
The file was huge. It was taking forever.
That is not the internet that we raised you with.
Just okay is not okay. Switch to AT&T Fiber with 1 gig internet and get 20 times faster upload speeds than cable. Bundle with AT&T TV for $39.99 a month each for a year. Limited availability may not be in your area. Call 1-877 only ATT.
Imagine an all-in-one whole house water treatment system designed to dramatically reduce contaminants from the water you drink, cook with, and bathe in true soft water that doesn't leave you with that slimy residue feeling. Cleaner water, healthier skin. Abacus, you can count on us.
Thanks for watching this morning. That's our show. Have a great day, everyone. Now pull out.
More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
I wonder what my life would be like if my dad hadn't died.
Let's raise our glasses to Randall Beck.
My name is Randall Pearson. I think I'm your son. This is Us, tonight on NBC.
Must be something in the wall. Feel like I can take the wall.
If I died to be this group of guys to help the kids, council dads.
Feel like we're in.
You're doing it, Dad, Jeremy.
We're all supposed to go back to real life.
We're gonna get through this together. You never want me to tell you this is your life. You live for you.
Are you?
I have to look them out. This is
3 parks, 1 spring break pass, just $69.99. 1 pass, the downtown aquarium, Tula Boardwalk, and Galveston Island Pleasure Pier. Buy your pass online now.
A free checking account is not just about free, it's about freedom. Freedom to experience the power of an easy-to-use working account, or freedom to know you can count on people you trust. Opportunities await for those who choose freedom. BBVA, creating opportunities.
Call ARS and rescue. If you have plumbing problems or a clogged drain causing big trouble, call ARS Rescue Router today.